interchange.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. 3 suspects linked to the killing of a family in KwaZulu-Natal are expected to make their first appearance in the KwaDukuza Magistrates Court this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock, Dumelang. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. It's great to have you with us here on 702. I hope you are good this morning, and I hope that you had a wonderful, wonderful long weekend. Are you one of those smart people that decided to take this entire week off? Because Friday is another holiday, or maybe you're one of the lucky ones that have so many leave days and you're not working these 3 days this week. You lucky fish. Let me know if you are back at work or if you decided to work from home or take some time off on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. That's how we kick off the 702 open line. How did you find the derby on Saturday? Congratulations to Pirates, because even though it was a draw, we remain top of the table. So congratulations to us. What did you think of the derby, though? Did you go to the stadium? How did you find the match? How vibey was it? Give me a call about that, please. By the way, speaking of sports, as of April 26th, that's this past Sunday, we now have a new world record marathon. The official men's marathon world record is now 1 hour, 59 minutes and 30 seconds, and it was set by Kenya's Sebastian Sawe at the London Marathon this past weekend. How crazy is that?
Just about him into the home straight. He's got over a minute or just under a minute to do this. He can do it. Come on, Sebastian. You can get this. History in the making. Under 2 hours. Nobody has ever done this. They said it couldn't be done. Sebastian Sawe is going to break the 2-hour mark. He's going to win the London Marathon in incredible style. An historic performance, 1:59:30. Absolutely incredible. I've never seen anything like that. What a finish.
Oh man, what a finish indeed. 1 hour 59 1 hour 59 minutes and 30 seconds. That is the new world marathon that's been set by Kenya's Sebastian Sawe. I mean, London is really the place for new world records, hey? For personal bests. I think my marathon personal best also came from the London Marathon, and I haven't been able to beat that 3 hours, 34 minutes personal record. The only chance I probably have to beat that record is to repeat the London Marathon, which I wouldn't mind, because it's one of the best majors to do. Let me know what your thoughts are about Sebastian who has now set this new marathon world record. By the way, I heard on Afternoon Drive yesterday, John Pellman, my colleague, spoke to Dr. Ross Tucker about how important this moment is.
I'm just looking at previous world records, apart from Kiptum's time at the Chicago Marathon, which you've just referenced, 35 seconds beyond. The previous 8 records were set in Berlin. So London not considered the fastest race by any account. Does this mean somebody's going to go to Berlin and go perhaps and do it even faster?
There's a real chance of that, yes, because you've mentioned 2 men broke 2 yesterday. Jacob Kiplima was the other pre-race favorite. He was under the old world record on only 28 seconds outside of the 2-hour barrier himself yesterday. So now I'd say there's 3 men. Boston last week was won by a Kenyan named John Correa, who broke that course record and looks at the same level as these 3. So I'd say there are now 4 men with the potential to do it. And Berlin, if you go back and look at the last 20 years of performances, Berlin is pretty consistently 60 to 90 seconds faster than London. Now,
wow.
Yesterday, London was perfect. The temperatures were ideal. The wind was blowing from the west, which meant that they had a tailwind for sort of the last 15 kilometers, which is how you want it. And so it was a really, really good day in London, maybe the best they've had in generations.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, because London has got so many tight corners, there are a few cobbled sections, it tends to be slower than Berlin. So when these guys line up in Berlin in September this year, there will be real prospects for another world record there.
Yeah, that is just out of this world. Yeah, I was really fascinated by that. Let me know what your thoughts are on 011-883-0702. And then also on the 702 open line, I want us to have a conversation about what happened at the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. You may have heard Bongani Bingwa this morning speak to Soli Malatsi, who's the Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies. And he was explaining that blunder from his department. Remember, he had to withdraw the recently gazetted National AI Policy because his department discovered fake and fictitious sources that were cited in the document. And this is not a mere technical issue. I mean, this is now compromising the integrity and the credibility of this draft policy, which we discussed on the show already a week ago. Remember? Imagine drafting an AI policy and using fake, made-up research to draft that policy. So our government has basically fallen victim to some of the risks that are associated with the usage of AI, which this national policy is meant to address and regulate. And this embarrassment, I suppose, reaffirms why oversight matters so much with these AI tools. Remember, we actually once discussed AI hallucinations in law before on this show. And that's because as we see artificial intelligence tools becoming more integrated in society, there are, of course, going to be concerns raised, even in different professions. And in this case, when we spoke about AI hallucinations in law, we were talking about concerns raised in the legal profession because legal authorities in South Africa started sounding the alarm after judges in the Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal courts found that legal practitioners had submitted court papers referencing entirely fictitious case law generated by AI. Even the Legal Practice Council warned at the time that such conduct, whether deliberate or not, could amount to misleading the court, which is one of the most serious offenses, really, in the legal profession. So these incidents are very, very important to look at and see how do we then change our systems and how do we teach people to use these AI tools. I mean, incidents like these are referred to as AI hallucinations, right? This is when an artificial intelligence tool generates convincing but entirely false argument or a statement. So, and my question to you then this morning is, do you use these AI tools? And have you ever experienced hallucinations before? Like, was it embarrassing for you? How do you use AI tools cautiously to avoid these kind of mistakes and these kind of hallucinations? Give me a call, please, on that on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 0727021702. At 10 o'clock, we're going to be in conversation with the Institute for healing of memories. How healed do you think this country is from its painful past? I think we are far, very far from healing. So as we commemorate Freedom Month, I think we need to reflect on how far we have gone as a country, as individuals as well, in healing the wounds created by our past evil system. And what are the consequences also of not prioritizing that healing? What about the emotional scars that didn't disappear in 1994? So we'll speak to the Institute of Healing of Memories. It's actually an institution that emerged out of our transition from apartheid to democracy, particularly in the wake of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So you had the TRC that was created as a national platform for truth-telling, for conditional amnesty, but it became clear that a formal justice process alone was just not enough. Many South Africans, victims, perpetrators, ordinary citizens were left carrying this unresolved trauma, grief, guilt, and anger. And there's no way you're going to deal with that only through a platform like the Truth and Reconciliation Commission or even the courts. So we're going to have a conversation about what healing really means at 10 o'clock. And then at 11 o'clock, we do our World of Work feature. Today, we're discussing how to deal with unhealthy dynamics in the workplace. And then we wrap up the show at 11 o'clock with our Health and Wellness feature. And today, we're discussing how to create healthy sleep habits for children. Do you have children who still don't want to sleep? They get you up the entire night? Well, you may want to listen to this conversation because you may just get some tips on how to deal with your little bundle of joy. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Hi, Clement. I'm one of those who took 3 days. I always capitalize on these holidays during this time. So I'm out and about, accompanying my son to write his learner's test, sitting here in the car, listening to you guys. In terms of sports Sunday, for some of us, it started early as we were watching London Marathon, having to witness the sub 2 hours for a marathon in our lifetime. I mean, Clement, wow. We've been waiting for this time. We knew it was coming because, I mean, we were sitting just above 2 hours. So we have a new world record by 3 people. The number 1, number 2, number 3, all of them, they've actually beat the existing record. So by the time we got to the derby, we were happy, we were, So it was a great sport weekend this past weekend. Thank you, Lyndon and Kalami.
It was indeed. 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds. That's the new world marathon record. How incredible is that, hey? How incredible is that? Let's go to some more WhatsApp voice notes on 072-702-1702.
Hi, Clement. Yes, I said no. I think Pirates did play well, and then the problem, it was a referee. The referee thinks that he was doing it to destroy soccer. Yeah, I think it's a Chiefs referee, that one. Thank you.
Chiefs referee. Let's go to Buitumelo, who's calling us from West Dean. Buitumelo, good morning.
Morning, Clem.
It's Sarah.
I'm upset with you. You didn't say you've got extra your tickets. You don't go to the stadium. I was looking for tickets, but anyway.
Oh, please. But also, Shem, I made the decision at 1 p.m. because I had another engagement, and when I looked at the watch, it was 1, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to make it inside that stadium.
Yeah. Anyway, Clem, I think Chiefs came to the game to intimidate Pirates players, especially ball players. Ndlovu was all over Mufokeng, never played soccer. He was like playing rugby. Mabue was all over Maswanganye, didn't play soccer. I mean, we had to have Leremi pulled off because of the injury. I mean, Apollo's goal is clear goal. I mean, when you're watching on TV, you've got the opportunity to watch on slow motion. Clear goal. And that's a goal that could have probably would have won us a league. And to draw a game like this, lose 2 points because of poor officials is bad. It's actually terrible. But Chiefs didn't want to. I mean, this was the first time that Chiefs didn't want to throw the ball in because they wanted to wind down the time, and because Pirates was coming onto them. Yeah, but disappointed with the result. But Chiefs didn't play soccer at all. They were playing rugby.
Look, Bitumelo, if it really soothes you, we're still on top of top of
exactly,
the table, which is a good thing. So, let's look at that brighter side as well. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Bitumelo, about that derby on Sunday. Keep your calls and WhatsApps coming on that. The Great on Twitter says, Clement, I think the best way to avoid these AI hallucinations is to use one prompt across various AI platforms. If the information is true, then all of them should have similar responses. I'm not sure about that because that's still AI tools, and they are getting clearly this fictitious information from somewhere else. And maybe it's cited in a completely different context, and they've just taken that, used it as AI tools to suit what you have prompted it to say. So I'm not sure if using the other various platforms actually does assist, but let me know, because I'm not really a user of these platforms, but I'm interested really in how you are becoming cautious in using these AI tools to avoid a situation like what the Department of Communications is in now, where it's sitting and it's embarrassed because the very draft policy that we discussed on this show a week ago, the first ever AI draft policy, they've discovered that they used fake, made-up research to draft that policy. Well, part of what they used, not entirely. And this just, again, reaffirms why it's so important for oversight to exist when it comes to these AI tools. So what are you doing? How do you use these tools in a way that's more strategic, more pointed to get you factual results and not something that could be made up? And if you've ever experienced hallucinations or mistakes cited in what you got from AI tools, how did you deal with that? Was it embarrassing? Was it during your presentation? Was it in court? Maybe you're a lawyer. How did you deal with that? Because that could really be embarrassing, hey?
Good morning, Clement Manyathela and team. On the derby, I didn't go there, Clement, but I was watching it very closely. Yes, congratulations to our team, Orlando Pirates. But you know what really bothered me, Clement? It's the way how Chiefs played. They didn't go and play there to win. They went there to fight our boys. Like, he went straight to Urili, to hurt Urili. Then Apollos here on the other side. Like, that was not fair what they were doing. That was not fair, And they prayed that Sundowns must win so that Sundowns can take the number one. Unfortunately for Kaizer Chiefs, because they are who they are. They are like that, Vele. We're still number one. That's our boys. And we're going to fight until the end. Thanks, Clemmy. Bye.
Good morning, Clement and your team. Clement, in soccer, it doesn't work where the numbers, when you want to stay inside the stadium, everybody sits everywhere. Even if you do have numbers for the ticket, it doesn't work in soccer. But my problem is when you get out of the stadium, if you are not in a VIP section, you can wait more than 3 or 4 hours when you didn't park correctly or you parked outside, because you have to wait for the people who are coming wherever they are coming, and it's delaying the whole situation. But even on Sunday, the way people forced themselves over there, it was a disaster waiting to happen. I don't think the Premier Soccer League have learned when it comes to the control of spectators. It was a disaster waiting to happen that never happened from Max in Pretoria.
Yeah, Max. And in fact, we've been trying, I know we had at some point wanted to have a conversation with stadium management, and we had confirmed them, and then something else came up. They had a crisis that they had to go deal with. So maybe it's about time we call them again to come back and have a conversation with us, and you guys can raise some of the issues you've had whenever you go to these kind of big games, because there are weaknesses, there are some loopholes that people use, and I think it would be helpful just to hear from you directly and tell stadium management what you want done differently and what could work best, because it's you need to also experience it in a good way. You've paid money to be in the stadium, and at some level, whether it's security, whether it's the issue of traffic, parking, those things have got to be resolved so that you've got a better experience at these matches.
Yeah, good morning, Clement and the team. Clement, Pirates supporters, they are playing. They're blaming everybody. They're blaming Chiefs players. They're blaming. Now apparently there was Leremi. They don't even know their own players. There was Leremi. They blaming the coach. They blaming they blaming everybody. What were they expecting Chiefs players to do? To massage their own players? It wasn't going to happen. The thing that has killed Pirates supporters, it's not the game and then the outcome of the match. It is the overconfidence that they were showing before the match. They were winning 6-0, they were winning 10-0, they were taking 3 points, and it didn't happen. Now they are coming with excuses. What they are calling a clear goal, it's a clear offside goal, because the shoulder or the head, if it is ahead of the line of the other defending team, it is an offside. It was not a goal as they're claiming it to be. Eden from Marshalltown.
Thank you so much for that, Eden. Let's go to, in fact, some more WhatsApps before we wrap up with the headlines at 9:30.
Morning, Clement. Great subject on AI and using AI. I use it often, but I think what some people might not be doing is actually using their own knowledge, understanding, and expertise to fact check and check that the information is correct. Whilst it cuts down time of writing proper and all of that, you can't just leave it up to AI to write anything, whether it be a legal letter, a presentation, a proposal, whatever it is. You still need to apply your own knowledge to ensure that the information received is correct. I have received incorrect information, or what you call a hallucination. And if you are writing something that you don't know anything about, it's very dangerous. But you apply your own mind and your own knowledge as well when you check. You can't just generate and send something that is generated by AI. You have to use your own knowledge and experience. Anyway, I think we're all learning AI, but it's important that you do apply your own mind when using it.
Morning, Clement. With regards to this AI thing, when I was doing my master's in 2024, it was the first time I got to start working on AIs and whatever for the research. Let me tell you, I did not trust it at all. I ended up making a conscious decision that I'm not going to use it. So I didn't use it at all. I was like doing it the old school way, and I got it right, because wow, even my prof was like, saying every day, don't trust this AI tools, don't trust them. So I thought the best thing is to stay away from them, and I did that, and on the time I got my master's. Thanks, bye.
Morning, Clement, Charlotte, and Rhoderport. So when you search information on Google, for example, AI will generate and summarize the information very nicely for you. Maybe it's definitions, but with every summary or definition, there is an icon for the original source where AI got that information from. You need to go into that icon and check the original source of that information. If it's a website, then you'll be able to see, is it an authentic website? If it's a published research article, then you must check which publication is it, which journal published that article, when was that published, and is that journal an accredited journal or one of those predatory journals? Fortunately, I'm in academia and we are able to check those kind of information, but you need to go to the original source of that information. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's so important. And we've had these conversations before, even about hallucinations, where I've brought in experts to explain how best to use these tools. So I think maybe in the context of what's just transpired now with the Department of Communications, maybe we should bring back an expert just to give you some tips on how to better use the tools. I'm trying to find here on my notes. I remember Mamokgeti Phakeng, the former UCT Vice Chancellor. We once brought her on the show. She called in on the open line, if I'm not mistaken, and she told us about this website that you go into and you can get like it's a course that you do. I think you do it in like 8 hours or something, and of course you can divide the hours in a way that suits you. But you do the course, and then it just teaches you about how to better and cautiously use these AI tools. I must just try find that link. And I'm not sure if it was only for that specific period, but she called in to plug us all and said, hey, check this out. Go on this website. You do the course there quickly, and then you come out and you're able to tackle these tools more efficiently in a way that avoids even errors like that. I'll try find that link for you. Maybe I'll post it up on Twitter. It's 9:31. Siso has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Basic Education Minister Siphiwe Kwagube has asked the National Treasury to investigate alleged irregularities in the procurement of school textbooks. This follows a News 24 report that Lighthouse Publishers registered just 3 days after the terms of reference were issued for the Foundation Phase National Catalogue, received the bulk of approvals to produce new learning materials for grades 1 to 3. The company could earn more than 285 million rand from producing textbooks and support materials for the department. Civic group March and March has taken its anti-illegal immigration picket to the union buildings in Pretoria today. The organisation has blamed government for allegedly not doing enough to deal with undocumented foreign nationals in the country. Some of the organisation's previous protests have reportedly been marred by incidents of violence in the Eastern Cape and Durban. And Australia has unveiled draft laws that would tax tech giants Meta, Google and TikTok unless they voluntarily strike deals to pay local outlets for news. Traditional media companies around the world are in a battle for survival as readers increasingly consume news on social media. Australia wants big tech companies to compensate local publishers for sharing articles that drive traffic onto their platforms. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the N3 North, we've got delays between the Geldenhuys interchange and the Kilulis interchange. While heading towards the Joburg CBD, do expect delays along the M2 East approaching the Crown interchange. While on the Golden Highway in the Dublin area, do expect delays between the N1 and Union Avenue. That's due to long-term roadworks that are taking place along this route. Do expect about a 20-minute hold up there. And then in the city of Tshwane, some delays. This is along the R80 South approaching the N4 exit. Roadworks are causing these delays coming out of the Roslyn exit. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702 Early Breakfast with Africa Milani.
My show is about waking up 702 land every weekday morning. I cover a variety of subject matter, current affairs, obviously, sports is big, and we discuss business as well. But also we have a laugh. We'll talk about nonsensical things that really make us survive some of the challenges we experience. The kind of listener that listens is somebody ambitious who's about to wake up and go to work and contribute constructively to this wonderful country of ours, and somebody who is troubled by the problems of the country and the world and are looking for solutions. And I love that about them. And what I like and love about the 702 family and 702 land is how solutions focused the listener is. You present them with a challenge, they will have a solution to that challenge almost immediately, sometimes at great cost to themselves. They love this country passionately and they want to see it prosper. That for me is absolutely incredible.
702 Early Breakfast with Africa Milani. Weekdays from 4 to 6 a.m.
Celebrate mothers on Sunday, the 10th of May at Nairox Sculpture Park in the splendor of the cradle of humankind. Wander through the sweeping landscapes, embrace contemporary sculpture, taste premium Cape wines, and savor gourmet cuisine, all to the sounds of some of South Africa's finest performing artists. Nyrox is delighted to welcome Lyra back on stage, as well as Steve Dyer's band alongside a 20-piece choir. Limited tickets are available from nyroxarts.com. Nyrox is a private, not-for-profit foundation to benefit the arts. All income is used to maintain the grounds, the artist residency program, and artist support.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today. It's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
When it comes to resilience, focus, and strength, few South Africans embody it like Gerda Steyn, the Comrades Marathon champion and one of the toughest endurance athletes. Sits down with Dr. Michael Moll for a powerful conversation you won't want to miss. It's part of CIPLA's Health and Mind Matters, a trusted hub bringing you expert-led health conversations you can trust. Together, they unpack mindset, pressure, physical health, and what it really takes to stay strong mentally and physically. Watch the full interview now on Prime Media Plus app or primemediaplus.com. Scroll the Prime Media highlights and click on Health Matters.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
22 minutes before 10 o'clock, we're discussing a number of things on the 702 open line this morning. Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs. The derby was on Sunday, and I've been asking you how you feel about it. Were you happy? Are you excited? We are, as Pirates fans, because we remain top of the table. But what did you think of the match? I've also been asking you about the new world record for a marathon, just under 2 hours. Kenya's Sebastian Sawe at the London Marathon set a new world record. It's quite incredible. It's extraordinary. 1 hour, 59 minutes and 30 seconds. That's the time that Sebastian Sawe took to finish the London Marathon. And then the communications minister, Solly Malatsi, was on breakfast this morning explaining that blunder from his department because they've drafted an AI policy, right? An AI draft policy, which when you look at closely, you can see that there are some fake, made-up, fictitious sources cited in the document. And that's what the department has now discovered. So the minister has had to withdraw that recently gazetted national AI policy because they discovered these fake, fictitious sources that were cited in the document, which again explains why it is so important for there to be regulation over a policy like this and be oversight because there are so many things that can go wrong. But I'm asking about your own individual experiences. Have you ever had an instance where you experienced AI hallucinations. Yeah, maybe what you were prompting the AI tools to give you, and they cited some fake, made up stuff. And how did you deal with that? Because I can imagine if you were at work and you're doing a presentation with some fake, made up stuff, that could be incredibly embarrassing. Or have you gone and done like an AI tools course of sorts to make sure that you are cautious when using these AI tools? Let me know. Maybe you can share some tips with the rest of us. 011 883 0702. Let's start with Vusi, who's calling us from Johannesburg. Vusi, you want to comment on the derby? Good morning.
Good morning, Clement,
Sure.
and good morning to the 702 listeners.
Sure, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to say congratulations for the Pirates team for maintaining the first position still on the table.
Mm.
But just to take it off on the match itself, it just concerns me, especially most of the times when there's a derby, the number of accidents that just I've witnessed from the previous derby and this current derby on the evenings after the match. They're just quite concerning to me. I believe there should be some awareness or teachings that should be done for that, because that was very bad, especially in Joburg South, that side.
Really?
It was where I just witnessed almost like 4 in just the small
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
that's quite hectic, Vusi, and maybe that is something to look closely at. I wasn't aware of the accidents that often occur after something like a derby. And look, if you know, like Vusi, it's been your experience, please give me a call about it. Is that something you've picked up as well? Let me know. Kenny, you are in Johannesburg. What do you want to say? Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to the listeners. Yeah. Pagania, I just want to say it's not only Chiefs players who were having rough tackles. Both teams, somehow, they were not playing each other fair. Because most of Pirates supporters, they were saying Chiefs players, they were playing rugby. Look at Siema. Siema, after Chiefs scored, he made a career-threatening tackle to Pulomodi. The referee never cautioned the player. It was a start-up. That was a clear red card. The referee never did anything. You look at Mbata. Mbata, at some stage, when they were clearing the ball, Oshapa spin kick. He almost injured his player. I don't know if you have seen that also. Lebogang Mabue was supposed to be sent off when Relebohile Mofokeng was down and Amohata Modimpe. That was wrong. Abongile Tom is one of the good referees that we have in South Africa. But I don't know what was wrong with him over the weekend not to caution players, to give them cuts.
Yeah. So your point then, Kenny, is that it's both the players from Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs that are attacking each other. Yeah, must be tough to be a coach, eh? Because whatever you do, it's always going to be scrutinized quite intensely, and whoever, depending on which side they're on, are going to try and use your decisions to suit their own narrative. So yeah, must have been tough. Must be tough to be a coach. 17 minutes now before 10 o'clock.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
You know, Abuti Clement, I thought for decades we would never ever get to see a human being run a marathon under 2 hours. Up until Eliud Kipchoge made it possible a couple of years ago. And even though it was assisted, I really still believe that we would still, in our lifetime, get to see a record. But I thought maybe it was going to be Boma 15, 20 years from now. And this is a very monumental moment in athletics and sporting history. And I was laughing just yesterday with my girlfriend that you have a person like me who runs at 21 kilometers in 2 hours, and then you have elite runners like Bosebes Saw who run the double the distance in the very same in the very same time. And I was looking at the times, they're running like Boma 240, 246 per minute per pace. That is just ridiculous.
Morning, Clement. Yeah, what a London marathon. Incredible. And you got a feel for the dude that came second. I mean, he broke the course record, he broke the world record, and he came second. So he doesn't get the big bonus for breaking the record. And then, the dude that came third broke the course record and he comes third. It was incredible. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to see anything like that again, with such a reduction, by two guys, and the third one just missing it by seconds, 23 seconds. Incredible, really incredible. I'm looking forward to the Berlin. Should be good.
Good morning, Clement Manyathela and 702 listeners. Regarding the marathon world record, I can only congratulate the guys for breaking the 2-hour mark, but my heart is still goes to Kiptum. May his soul rest in peace. I mean, he is the guy that he was promising to have. He would have been the first one to run below 2 hours, and he passed away very soon than we expected. So may his soul rest in peace. Regarding the golf, Clement, what is your tip, man, for somebody that wants to improve his game? What can you give as a tip? Thank you.
I want to improve my game. I want tips myself. Look, of course, the more you do something, the better you get at it. And I think even with golf, the similar thing applies. Just play, play, play. Look, if you are able to afford a coach, obviously that's the best way to go. Just get a coach who can coach you for about 3 months, and then you go practice everything that they're teaching you, and you just play more and play more. That's the thing about golf. The more you played, the more you really do get better at it. I've been out of the game because I've been studying, and I'm only coming back more and more because I only have time really since after studies that I can play golf. So I'm still struggling to get fully in. I played yesterday. I didn't win. I lost by 1 point actually. A friend of mine won. I came second, but our team won the game in that 4-ball. So we didn't play that bad, but still, we could be better. So play is what I would advise you to do, brother.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Morning, Clement. AI is indeed taking over. However, if you don't know your work, if you don't know your content regarding the work that you do, then you're going to be in danger of AI. Rather, instruct AI to write you something making reference to documents that are valid or legit that you attach for it to analyze and give you feedback on.
Morning, Clement 782. Regarding the use of AI, I am in the academic spaces and we are discouraged on using AI, so I haven't really used it much. But I think it is more useful for editing, design, creativity, and brainstorming. For anything that needs facts, it is imperative to verify the source links and get hold of the original document. I think that will help to avoid the hallucinations and everything.
Hey Clement, so I am an AI evangelist. I love AI. I use it daily, hourly. It's insane. But I've learned over the years. I started I think 4 years ago, just how to train it on the type of output that I would like to see. I scold it quite a lot when it does hallucinate, so I do check, and I think that's the one thing that people miss, especially when they are having tight deadlines or they're impatient. They just don't check. And so I know there was somebody who said, put them against each other to check if there are any hallucinations and stuff like that. And I think you can definitely do that. But my go-to is use the right type of AI for the right type of task. If you're going to be using research type of, output, if you want a research type of output, then you need to use a research like AI and not just like your normal ones like ChatGPT. So again, I'm an evangelist on these things. I run classes around these things. Thanks. This is Secha from Centurion.
No, Sikha, please plug us with your details. Because I'm getting a lot of people on the WhatsApp line who are saying they would like an opportunity to at least learn about these AI tools and how to better prompt these tools for whatever you're researching. Do you mind just sending us another WhatsApp voice note? Just give us your details. How can people get in touch with you? Do you have a website? Is there an email address? Because the point here is, yes, as helpful as these tools can be, they are not perfect. They're not perfect. And now we've had so many cases through the courts, now through a whole government's draft AI policy. These mistakes have occurred. Hallucinations, fake, made up stuff that makes it onto the draft AI policy. So you could make a mistake with your presentation. You could make a mistake with your the submission of your assignment. So you need to find ways to learn how to use these tools. Use them in an appropriate manner that doesn't get you in trouble. Lerato, you're in Alberton. Good morning. What are your thoughts?
Good morning. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on the issue of the AI hallucination. So, in my experience, at least, having been in a research and development space for over 12 years, I mean, it started as far back as the Google times. So, it's just that with AI, there are more checks. Even with the Google prompting, unless you know what you're at least expecting, even to do a Google research, a Google prompting, it will be a problem. So with AI, at least, when it comes to the literature publication, for example, if you are doing a thesis, 90% of the time it will always pick up a wrong reference and make up stories for you. But then, however, I find it that when you are doing, you're prompting it for calculations, for example, any electrical engineering space for your power system analysis, it will mostly give you the correct information because you know at least what you are expecting. And then as well as when you are doing your backend programming, for example, recently we just got this Copilot thing within our office, Microsoft Office. It will still give you a mistake even when you are working within an Excel file. It will miscross reference as a can say. But then unless if you know what you are looking for, at least what you are expecting, then it will always mislead you here and there. Okay. So there's a lady who commented to say that you must at least know what you are hoping for it to work for you. Yeah, and then you also go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I wanted to say yes, she did say that. Just cross-reference it with the info, with what you know. So don't just take it as if it's gospel truth. I got you. Lerato, I'm out of time, but thank you so much, man, for sharing that experience with us. I'll go to more of your calls and WhatsApps after the break.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
My show is about getting you informed by the time you get to the office, your place of business, or wherever you need to go. Hopefully, you have a fairly good idea what's happening in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and around the world. We want you to be part of those water cooler conversations, and you will be part of those conversations because you'll be a better informed citizen. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is the ecosystem that we have built, the community. It's all about connection because we may be different, but ultimately the people you talk to and the people you hear are facing issues just like you.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
New from the House of Citroën.
Ah, so stylish.
470-litre boot space. I need it.
Keyless entry, so chic.
Cruise control. Oh, bonjour.
4-year or 60,000 kilometers service plan? Oui.
The stylish, all-new Citroën Basalt is here. You want a piece of it. Starting from 354,900 Rand. Register now for limited deal assist of up to 40,000 Rand. Visit citroen.co.za. T's and C's apply.
Aziz Shege, be in the game. Show your love for D-Ski with Hollywood Bets. We're taking the soccer season to new heights. You could win a share of 4 million Rand in cash and prizes, including an all-new Toyota Hilux double cab or Toyota Starlet Cross. All you have to do is bet 10 Rand or more on any soccer fixture online or at your nearest branch. Bet now and strike for glory. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
To you, it's a bee. To your dog, it's a yummy flying jelly bean. But it could also end up being an expensive vet bill. Get peace of mind with Outsurance Pet Insurance from only 65 Rand a month. You get claims paid in one day, a fixed excess, choose your own vet, and you could get a cash out bonus. SMS quote to 45149. That's quote to 45149. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
5 minutes before 10 o'clock. David, you're in Centurion. Good morning.
Morning, Clement and the listeners.
Sure.
I think, what is coming across for me upon using AI for so long is that, I usually view it as a graduate, maybe of a master's degree or PhD, in that, it's got all the theory, it's got all the background, that it takes from Google and all the online platforms. But for it to work for your specific need, you have to train it on your particular domain. For example, if you're an engineer and you want to use it in your engineering, you first have to do the background work. You first have to, in certain instances, you have to upload certain information. Even you can upload PDF documents, you can upload Excel spreadsheets, and it will go through those things, for a certain period of time, say maybe for a month, and then it will start understanding, what it is that you expect of it to do. So it's not like in anything in life, that is valuable that you want to use for the long term. You have to train it, even if you can generate PDF documents, upload it, and have it analyze that information and start to make, relations between information. For example, if you wanted maybe to understand your company's policies and procedures, you can upload it so that when you ask it to say that if I need to deal with, a conflict between staff members and whatever, what do I do? Then it will start even understanding you, how you think.
Because I think that's the policy you've also uploaded.
Exactly. That's one of the things that I've noticed is that it learns you as well, your tone, how you like certain things.
Yeah, got you. David in Centurion, thank you so much for that tip, man.
Clement, it's Petros here in Johannesburg. I just want to comment on this thing of AI. I use AI, Chat GPT, I use, and Gemini a lot. I think AI, it's good if people are using it properly. You shouldn't use AI to let AI just think for you, do things for you. AI is good when you are using it at polishing up what you have already created. Like if you are doing an email, you want your email to be more polished, to sound more professional, you can use AI for that. If you want to your views on certain things, just an analysis, you want an AI to just, because I think what AI does, it gets different sources that it puts there. Then you use your mind to analyze that. So, I mean, to me, AI, that's how I have to use it. But you don't just take everything that AI brings. Like if I'm analyzing something, I want to do a certain presentation, I let AI give me insights, then but I still have to restructure the thing myself.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan. Driven to evolve.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an unmistakable rhythm that brings us all together. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Josie My Josie to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, the 26th of July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be part of something special. Entries open soon, but in the meantime, stay tuned to 702 and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie. Babize bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again. In, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
It's 10 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Basic Education Minister Sivu Kwahube has asked National Treasury to investigate alleged irregularities in the procurement of school textbooks. This follows a News 24 report that Lighthouse Publishers registered just 3 days after the terms of reference were issued for the Foundation Phase National Catalogue, received the bulk of approvals to produce new learning material for grades 1 to 3. The company could earn more than 285 million rand from producing the textbooks and the support material for the department. The minister's spokesperson, Lukhanyo Vangqa, says the allegations are deeply concerning, warning that the delivery of quality education material for more than 13.7 million pupils is at stake.
The National Treasury is the legal custodian of procurement compliance. Before taking any further steps, the minister is seeking advice from the National Treasury. Should investigations by National Treasury uncover malfeasance, she will not hesitate to act. She had stated that all those implicated will be dealt with, as she cannot allow the future of our children to be compromised by corrupt individuals.
Civic group March and March has taken its anti-illegal immigration picket to the union buildings in Pretoria today. The organization has blamed government for allegedly not doing enough to deal with undocumented foreign nationals in the country. Some of the organization's previous protests have reportedly been marred by incidents of violence in the Eastern Cape and Durban. Mogezi Koko has more from the capital.
A small but vocal group of protesters has already assembled at Burgers Park before marching through Sunnyside and heading towards the union buildings. Organizers have emphasized that the demonstration must remain peaceful, urging participants to avoid damage to property and infrastructure. March and March leader Jacinta Ngobese Zuma.
This is not normal migration. I say this all the time. What we're currently facing in South Africa is not normal migration.
A heavy police presence, including SAPS and Tshwane Metro Police, is monitoring the situation to ensure order and minimal disruption. Mogezi Koko, Eyewitness News in the Pretoria CBD.
Scores of people have gathered outside the KwaDukuza Magistrates Court in KZN calling for justice for 7 family members who were killed in their home. 3 suspects linked to the killing are expected to make their first appearance this morning. The attackers were arrested after the Tuesday night attack for kidnapping, rape and murder in Malmouth. Police have also indicated that one of the suspects was known to the family. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
Police investigations have revealed some details of the murders of businessman Alan Monsami and his family last Tuesday. The kidnappers stormed into their home, terrorized them, raped Monsami's daughter before driving with the family of 7 to Melmoth for nearly 2 hours. 3 of the victims were shot and killed, while 4 were stabbed to death. During a mass funeral on Sunday, KZN Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli made these remarks.
I want to assure the family and the community that every available resources is being deployed to locate and apprehend the remaining individual.
Ntuli says the Department of Community Safety has approached its legal team to ensure that bail is opposed for the suspects today. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, KwaDukuza.
And Australia has unveiled draft laws on tech giants, which include Meta, Google, and TikTok, unless they voluntarily strike deals to pay local outlets for news. Traditional media companies around the world are in a battle for survival as readers increasingly consume their news on social media. Australia wants big tech companies to compensate local publishers for sharing articles that drive traffic on their platforms. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says Meta, Google and TikTok would be given a chance to strike content deals with local news publishers.
This is not about government revenue. Every single dollar will go back to journalists. At this point, the three organisations, Meta, Google and TikTok as well, have been consulted with and will continue to engage with.
Gold is trading at $4,673.74 an ounce. The rand is at 16.54 to the dollar, 22.39 to the pound, 19.38 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $109.45 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N17 East. That's due to an accident right near Heidelberg Road. Delays from Osborne Road. There's also roadworks along this route, so please be on the lookout there and expect about a 20-minute hold up heading towards Bedford View. Delays on the N3 North approaching the Kidudis interchange.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: Basic Education Minister Sivu Kwagube has asked National Treasury to investigate alleged irregularities in the procurement of school textbooks.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Minutes after 10 o'clock, Dumelang, Sanbonani, good morning. Welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. And as always, I appreciate your calls, your WhatsApps on the 702 open line. Just a quick reminder about what we've planned in the next hour. We're going to start at 11 o'clock with our World of Work feature, discussing how to deal with unhealthy dynamics in the workplace. In fact, we should begin with identifying what is healthy and what's unhealthy in the context of the workplace, because healthy workplace dynamics are sometimes ignored in companies' quests for profit and productivity, but they're actually not only integral to a company's success. I think more importantly, workplace dynamics have actually a deep, lasting effect on workers' well-being and career trajectory. So we'll talk about how to identify them and how do you deal with dynamics that are unhealthy in the workplace. That's the conversation at 11 o'clock. And then 11:30 on our health and wellness feature, we will be discussing how to create healthy sleeping habits for children, because our bundle of joy sometimes really will keep us up at night because they just are not falling asleep and maybe they're not used to a regular pattern of sleep. So is that even possible, and for what age groups? That's the conversation we're having at 11:30.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702. Let's walk the talk.
But right now, we start a conversation with the Institute for Healing of Memories. And really, at the center of our conversation is questions I've asked myself before. How healed are we as a country? How healed are we from our painful past? And as we commemorate Freedom Month, I wonder how far we have gone as a country, as individuals, in healing the wounds created by our past evil system. And what are the consequences of not prioritizing that healing? Because we still have people with emotional scars that didn't disappear in 1994. So the Institute of Healing Memories emerged out of our transition from apartheid to democracy, particularly in the wake of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And yes, the TRC created this national platform for truth-telling and conditional amnesty, but it became clear that formal justice processes alone were not enough. Many South Africans, many victims out there, perpetrators, ordinary citizens were left carrying unresolved trauma, a lot of guilt, a lot of grief and anger. And honestly, the idea of healing feels especially urgent right now, not just here at home in the context of our Freedom Month, but just globally. Look at what's happening in the Middle East. These rising geopolitical tensions, we are once again confronted with a difficult and uncomfortable truth that religion, which for many is a source of compassion and unity, is too often used to justify war, divisions, and human suffering. So, what do you think has been our journey of healing in this country? And what do you think is going to take for us to prioritize healing the scars that were left by that past evil system? I'd like to hear your thoughts on 011 883 0702, or you can send your WhatsApps on 072 702 1702. Father Michael Lapsley is the founder and president of the Institute for Healing Memories, who's joining us now for a conversation about this. Thank you so much, Father Lapsley, for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. It's great to be with you and to be with the listeners.
Yeah. And I want us to start our conversation just in the context of Freedom Month. Yesterday, South Africans were commemorating Freedom Day, which is quite an important day for us, for our history in this country. So when South Africans reflect on Freedom Month, the focus is often on political liberation. So how should we be thinking about freedom beyond just political rights, particularly in terms of healing and an emotional restoration?
No, thank you very much, Clement, for that question. I hope it was a good Freedom Day for you yesterday.
Yes.
When we think back to that day, and some of us are old enough, we were there on that first Freedom Day when we went to vote, and it's amazing to think that was the first time in more than 300 years that the people of South Africa had done something together. Now, I was outside the country for 16 years in Lesotho and Zimbabwe, and I came back in 1992. And what I discovered was a wounded nation. Yes, we had survived, we were there, but we were wounded in our humanity. We were wounded by the things we had done, by what had been done to us, and what we failed to do. And all of us with a story to tell. And I came to the conclusion that we wouldn't create a very nice society unless we dealt with what was inside of us, the psychological, emotional, and spiritual dimension. And if you like, we needed to find the ways of detoxifying. First, acknowledging the things that had happened to us, acknowledging the wrongs that had been done, but also then beginning to let go of hatred and bitterness and desire for revenge, principally because they would destroy not our enemies, they would destroy us. And so that was part of the thinking that led to the formation of the Institute for Healing of Memories and the idea of creating what we would call safe and sacred spaces where people could tell each other their stories, where they could be listened to, where they could be acknowledged.
Oh, I love that. And I really love how you as an institution also, frame this concept of freedom, which is so interesting because I think we do forget, right? This is not just about the absence of oppression, but the presence of healing, must be the presence of dignity, of restored humanity. Do you think that South Africans sometimes, what do I say, overestimate how free it is? Because we sort of measure freedom primarily through laws and institutions, but there are very deep-rooted scars that people still have today that are not really being spoken about and being reflected on.
You know, we had our Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which provided a platform where South Africans could tell their stories. And if I remember rightly, 23,000 people came forward to tell their stories. 18,000 people sought amnesty, but we're a nation of 50-something million people. And so millions of people never did, in fact, tell their story and have their stories heard. One of our great leaders, Chief Luthuli, once said, those who think of themselves as victims eventually become the victimizers of others. So a key question is, how do we break that cycle that turns victims into victimizers? And we see how often when we're full of rage and bitterness, particularly as men, we carry that out on women, or we carry that out on children. And so the cycle continues. And those who have been brought up being victimized often grow up to become the victimizers of others. But I think the scale of trauma that goes back hundreds of years, we should be naive to think that we were going to deal with that in just one generation. It's an intergenerational task. And there are still huge numbers of untold stories. Often in our workshops, people tell terrible stories of what has happened to them. And I'll say to them, well, have you told you this story before? And I say, no, it's the very first time. That often people don't feel safe enough, or they feel they won't be believed, or they'll be dismissed. So people wait for a safe time when it's okay to share what is in it. So I always remember a young freedom fighter who was regarded as a hero in his community for good reasons. He came to our workshop and he said, yeah, all those things are true, but I want to think about that of which I'm ashamed. Because although he fought for what is noble and good, he'd also done things that had harmed him spiritually and emotionally in the process of the struggle. So by simply being a hero, he couldn't deal with the fullness of his humanity, the things that still haunted him.
Yeah. So what's your sense of where the country is now? Because it's more than 30 years now into our democracy. And I wonder, what are the deepest wounds you still see in our society today? And do you think that the country has done enough to prioritize healing, or has reconciliation been treated as a once-off project rather than an ongoing process, which is what I would argue?
Right. I think your last point, Clement, is where I would jump in and say, I think when we had the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, we thought, okay, well, we've done that. We can tick that off and move on. But we know that part of the characteristic of South Africa today is poverty, unemployment, huge criminality, vast corruption. Now, all those things play themselves out, not just politically and economically, but psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. Poverty dehumanizes people, it traumatizes them. So there's this interconnection between the psychological, emotional, and spiritual, and the political and the economic. So I think we always need to look at the signs of hope. And Freedom Day yesterday, we need to think about the sacrifices, the courage and the sacrifice of people across generations. And we need to rejoice at what we achieved. We got political freedom, but then we've been eaten alive by greed and corruption. So I think there's a great disillusionment in much of the nation, if you like, with the political class, with what it's failed to achieve. So I think that's part of the wounds that people have. And sometimes on Freedom Day, if I listen to what was being said on the radio yesterday, there was some despair as well. But I think wherever you go in South Africa, you see people taking agency. You see people wanting to change their situation at a very grassroots level. And often I meet young people who have a lot of hope in them. I was with a group of young people and some military veterans yesterday, and the young people were there committed for their dreams to be fulfilled. So there is that generation that we need to encourage and inspire to say, okay, we've done our part. Well, in some respects, badly in other respects, and now we pass the baton to you to build. We've got to get to the point that we're not the most. The income distribution is the worst in the world, what they call the Gini coefficient. That's got to get better.
Yeah.
Poverty and unemployment on our scale doesn't spell social cohesion. It doesn't spell peace. So we have some urgent tasks to carry out as a nation. And that includes looking at ourselves, at our own emotional, psychological, and spiritual wounds. The more we heal, and healing for me as a Christian is never an end in itself. It's an order that we may participate and that we may create a different kind of society.
Yeah. So the difficult question then becomes, how do we heal then? Where do we even begin as a society, as individuals as well? And maybe I should, preface that question with another question, which is, who needs to heal, Father Lapsley? Because we think that it's the people who were right, in the midst of that oppression. It's the people that experience the brutality of the apartheid system that need to heal. But I mean, I was born in 1990, and for some reason there are scars that I feel I have because I have experienced life in a particular way because of that apartheid system. So I may not have been there during the time, but there are certain scars that are quite relatable to you, even as someone who was born outside of that era. So who do you think needs to heal? Because
what is beautiful, Clement, about what you're saying is you're answering your own question. And you're saying, yeah, I was born in 1990, but I recognize that I still have wounds. And if we're born into a wounded society, that will also infect us. As an Institute for Healing of Memories, we say all people have a story to tell, and every story needs a listener. So the issue of woundedness and healing is an issue for the whole human family, which is why, of course, as an institute, we now work in 26 countries because it's not just a South African story. But we started the institute fully in 1998. But after that, and at that time, was HIV and AIDS, and including bringing immense suffering to people. And so we said, well, what's our contribution? And we said, it's about the stories, about listening to the stories of those infected and affected. We have gender-based violence on an astronomical scale. So we need to create the space where those women who have been abused can also tell their story and be heard. But also men, the abusers, they too have their stories. And so we need to create the spaces when men can talk about their pain. Because always, Clement, we say, how do we break the chain that turns victims into victimizers? The effect in communities of gangsterism, of drugs, of criminality, but also the people who are the young people who go on to drugs, the young people who become members of gangs and criminals, they have their stories that's led them down that track as well. So indeed, it is in fact universal, the need for stories. I was just a few days ago in the mountain kingdom of Lesotho, and we had a workshop with a group of widows, 26 widows. And the widows were saying, no one has ever listened to our stories. No one has ever given us space to tell our stories as well, to be heard. And often they felt very alone in their pain. And in the process of telling their stories, they began to feel less alone. They were still widows, but they began to feel that there was possibilities of a further life for them. If you go into the prisons, Clement, those who have done the most terrible things, in most cases, they had terrible things done to them. They were victims before they became perpetrators. Not all, but frequently.
So, can religion then become an important instrument in that healing? Because religion is a source of healing and compassion. That's what it can be used for, right? And yet, we exist in a world where religion also often gets used as a tool to justify violence, exclusion, to justify war. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, what does it mean then to heal in a world where faith can both divide and unite us?
Yeah, if we were to look, Clement, at the core teachings of all the great faith traditions of the world, whether you look at Christianity or Islam or Judaism or Buddhism, or indeed the traditional religious beliefs of our cultures, the core teachings are always about kindness, gentleness, compassion, and working for justice. And justice in the great faith traditions is not about revenge and punishment. It's about restorative and transformative justice. And of course, in the Christian tradition, which I happen to be part of, healing is a key thing that Jesus talks about. But what's always fascinated me is that people that are healed by Jesus, they don't go home and sit on the couch. They become disciples. They become disciples for building a different kind of world, a kinder, gentler, compassionate society. So the healing is in order that they may participate. But wherever any of the faith traditions are used to justify violence, that is an abuse of that tradition. And we see some pretty ugly stuff coming out of the United States. We hear the kind of Christian nationalism of Peter Hegseth or Pete Hegseth, or the kind of justification of the violence of genocide. That's an abuse. But there we've heard this credible moral voice of Pope Leo, speaking for, if you like, the peoples of the world, speaking of blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall see God, encouraging kindness and compassion. And Pope Leo saying, if you pray for violence, if you pray to justify war, if you're a war maker, God doesn't listen to those prayers.
Yeah, and I mean, he was just stating the facts, and that he was also criticized for the very comments that he's made. So what would then be the consequences here when socially and politically that the nation has not adequately dealt with its trauma? So what are the consequences in an environment like that?
I suppose, in a sense, then we have pathology in our society, that we are, in some senses, a sick society. If you think of the kind of sacrifices of the Tulis and the Tambos and the Mandelas and extraordinary women through the ages, then, in a sense, what was true of them, that they were ethical people. They were characterized by kindness and compassion. So when we lose sight of that, then we become easily self-serving. And of course, we have seen at Bozondo and now the Madlanga Commission, the sickness, the moral sickness that is there in our society, where greed becomes the idol that we follow, rather than generosity and compassion. And that rot then extends through the society. But at the same time, there are cops who are decent human beings. There are politicians who are decent human beings, who are committed, who are competent, who are committed to justice, who have a moral vision. But the opposite is also true at the same time. So how do we, you see, I think we have to, Clement, develop leadership at every level of our society that is competent, compassionate, and ethical. And I think that is part of the task that we face as a society. But dealing with our wounds, because also we have to deal with our moral wounds, where people in a safe space are able to say, but what I did was wrong. What I did was wrong. And to make that kind of acknowledgement. Because once that acknowledgement is made and you accept the consequences, then we can begin to build a different kind of society.
Absolutely. It's 10:30. We're going to get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, I'd like to hear from you. What do you think the status of our healing is in this country? Do you think we have healed as a nation? We're commemorating Freedom Month, but I think there are some deep questions we need to ask ourselves. What about the emotional scars that didn't disappear in 1994? How have we attended to those? Because we are a wounded nation. And does it surprise you that we are unable to have uncomfortable conversations without us labeling each other? Because that's precisely it. It's because we have not healed. And yes, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission created that national platform for truth-telling, conditional amnesty, but it became a formal justice process. And that's not all you need when you are dealing with an evil system like we've been subjected to in this country and you're serious about healing. So your thoughts on 011-883-0702. I'll take your WhatsApps as well. Sfiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. We start with news just in. Suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Metro Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and the city's manager Kagiso Lerutla have been granted 30,000 Rand bail each. They appeared in the Boksburg Magistrates Court this morning on charges of fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice. They are accused of hatching a plan in 2019 in which Mkhwanazi's driver, Thabang Totsesi, allegedly impersonated Lerutla in court after being paid 400,000 Rand shared between him and his boss. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana is this week expected to announce whether the temporary fuel levy cut will be extended. Pressure is mounting on the minister to keep the relief in place as motorists continue to feel the impacts of sharply rising fuel prices. Last month, government reduced the general fuel levy by 3 Rand a litre to cushion consumers against soaring global oil prices driven by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Meanwhile, BP's profits for the first 3 months of the year have more than doubled following a surge in oil prices since the beginning of the Iran war. In its first results since the conflict broke out, the energy giant reported profits of 3.2 billion Rand between January and March after an exceptional performance in its oil trading business. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling in Boksburg, we've got delays on the N17 East. That's between Osborne Road and Heidelberg Road due to a major accident scene. Please be on the lookout there and expect about a 15-minute hold-up. There's also roadworks along the same route, so it will add definitely to your peak time delays. If you are travelling along the N12 West, do expect heavier traffic volumes due to another accident scene between Atlas Road and the R21 turn off. This is causing about a 20-minute hold-up there while heading towards Amalgam, queuing traffic on the M2 West between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Have you been watching the Madlanga inquiry?
Oh, yes.
And when you reflect on the rule of law in South Africa, 32 years into democracy, having sat on the bench in the way that you have, how does it make you feel about the rule of law in South Africa?
I'm downhearted at the moment, but I'm not discouraged. I still believe that we have always managed to pull ourselves out of the mire own bootstraps. I still think that we're the brightest star on the African continent.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an unmistakable rhythm that brings us all together. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Josie My Josie to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk Babize Bonke. On Sunday, the 26th of July, We're going on a walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be a part of something special. Entries open soon, but in the meantime, stay tuned to 702 and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie. Babiza bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
Illegal water connections have serious consequences for the city's water supply. When pipelines are tampered with, it damages infrastructure, reduces system pressure, and can leave entire communities without water. Johannesburg Water continues to remove illegal connections and strengthen monitoring across the network to protect supply. Residents are encouraged to report illegal connections or suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg on 0800 002 587. Protect our water infrastructure. Protect our water supply. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water and sanitation utility that cares.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Is there a strong case for companies to start looking at bringing back sort of work from home policies?
There is to some degree, and those that can are already doing so. The fact of the matter is, though, that since, as you've just mentioned, since the pandemic, those that could already are to a very large degree. We are seeing some flexibility when it comes to employers.
Tony Healy, Labour Consultant at Icon Labour Consultants.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Crutches, is brought to you by ABSA Corporate Investment Banking. Success in trade comes from systems that move with speed, connect markets seamlessly, and unlock growth that works across borders. That's why ABSA is a proud sponsor of Trade Tech Europe 2026. Engineered for how Africa trades. ABSA is a registered FSP.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
24 minutes before 11 o'clock, we're having a conversation this morning about Freedom Month that we are commemorating, and we're speaking to the Institute for Healing of Memories. Father Michael Lapsley is the founder and president of the Institute for Healing Memories. And I've been asking you that as we commemorate Freedom Month, how far do you think we've gone as a country, but also as individuals, in healing the wounds created by our past evil system, and what are the consequences of not prioritizing that healing? And part of the question we've explored with Father Michael Lapsley is the issue of religion being used as a tool then to heal our generation, right? Religion can be a source of healing and compassion, but we live in a world where religion is also used as a tool to justify violence and even exclusion, to justify even war. So what does it mean to heal in a world where faith can both divide and unite us? Your calls on 011-883-0702. Your WhatsApps on 0727021702. Let's start with you, Tebogo. You're calling us from Alex. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure, man.
I'm going to try and be brief. I had the fortune of working for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in their Johannesburg office then from 1996 to 1999. And my role was not the executive role, but I was responsible for collecting statements from victims of gross violations during apartheid. I had a huge team that collected statements from 4 provinces. 2 things in particular that I want to just mention. One is, I remember a particular case in Bloemfontein where I sat from about 5 in the afternoon to 9 in the evening listening to a man from the armed forces, particularly the ANC, who did not want the statement to be recorded, who didn't want it to be written down. The idea was that it was going to be used in the hearings, but he didn't want anything to do with that because he just wanted to let me know what had happened to him and his comrades in the camps. So this guy is wounded. This man carries an emotional wound, and he's just about one that I took. The second group were these were called SDUs. I think in Togoza, self-defense units. That's what it stood for. These guys were also not allowed, according to policy, to ever let us know what has happened to them. But they came forth secretly and told us stories of what had happened to them. So essentially, there's a group of people around the country who are wounded, who are a time bomb, emotional time bomb. I don't know how they live now. I don't know how they function. But these guys are not healed. And you can imagine the wound that they're carrying around. And the Institute, I hope, will be able to reach them out. But the idea is that I do understand why, the past presidents of the ANC do not want anything to do with whatever happened to the Truth Commission, and that's why they are investigated at the moment.
Yeah, and let's hope it gets somewhere, because it just doesn't make sense that over 30 years later, you still don't have enough successful prosecutions you can point to that arose from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It's actually quite wild. Your WhatsApps on 072 702 1702.
Clement, what a wonderful conversation about healing. As a white South African who has also an Afrikaans background, the one thing that really worries me if I look at our country and our young people is how long do we allow that anger to influence our decisions? The reason for this is, if you know history, the Afrikaners and their experiences in the Anglo-Boer War with English, and that hatred that was taught in every household, in every school, in every church for decades, that up to the 1960s, 70s, 80s, you would very seldom find Afrikaans-speaking and English people having relationships, marrying, etc. It even affected my family, that is a family that's Afrikaans and English, with some family members refusing to accept that. So that's decades because of one single incident that was taught, I think, with a lot of bitterness at home. So how do South Africa move forward with a history of 300 years?
Sure. Thank you so much for that WhatsApp voice note. Yeah, for the Michael Lupsley, I suppose that the question there is, there are so many people that have grown up in homes that taught them that hatred. How do we ensure that we don't repeat that cycle? And I've seen other families that just sort of choose to forget about what happened because it's such an uncomfortable conversation. Whether a black family or a white family, there are families out there who decide we're not touching that topic even at the dinner table. We're going to pretend like that conversation doesn't exist, and I'm not sure if that's even much helpful, because the children are gonna get out. They go to school. They go to these social environments that can require them to know a little bit about our history. Otherwise, then they're left exposed. How do you think we move forward and we don't ensure the repetition of what we've been through?
And thank you for the two people who have just spoken. I think always, perhaps human beings have always done that when terrible things happen. We opt to bury and to forget rather than to remember and to heal. But the bury and forget option never works. It always comes back to bite us in different ways. And some people have said that perhaps after the South African War of 1899-1902, of the concentration camps of the British and what Afrikaners suffered, that perhaps if there had been a Truth and Reconciliation Commission after that war, the Afrikaners may not have felt the same need to do what they did in terms of the apartheid state. So I think also, for those of us who are white, have we really faced our own complicity? the way in which we were beneficiaries of racism, either directly or indirectly. And I think often the sister very rightly spoke about anger, but I would also want to speak about guilt and shame as well, which are not easy emotions to deal with. So I think people often remain opt for denial, they opt for a comfortable life rather than deal with those wounds. So I think you also alluded earlier, Clement, to the difficult conversations, courageous conversations we need to have as a nation, both within communities and across communities, because we as South Africans are going to live together forever. So let's see if we can do it in a healthy way. But it doesn't happen by denying the past. It comes from facing the past and recognizing that all of us are capable of being both victims and perpetrators. And we can be, in fact, both at the same time in different parts of our lives. So I could be a victim, for example, as a person of color, as a man, but I may be a perpetrator in the bedroom. And we often see our victimhood clearly. We don't often see our perpetration so clearly as well.
So can true healing happen though without justice? Because there's often tension between forgiveness and accountability.
Can I share my story a little
please.
bit? You know, as it happens, Clement, today is the anniversary of my bombing. It was on this day, 36 years ago, that I received a letter bomb, which blew off my hands and eye, eardrums. But I was supported with prayer and love of people across the world. And as you remember, Nelson Mandela said when he came out of prison, he said, he realized that if he left prison full of hatred and bitterness, he would still be in prison himself. And I realized that if I was filled with hatred and bitterness, they would have failed to kill the body, but they would have killed the soul. But as we talk here today, I don't know who sent me that bomb. I don't know who gave the orders. So I have some unfinished business, but it doesn't mean that I'm not on my journey of healing. So I think we are correct, just as the families like the Craddock Four are calling out for justice and accountability. That is correct. And so there will always be unfinished business that we have to keep pursuing until it's achieved. But it doesn't mean that we can't be on the journey of healing. Meanwhile, traveling. So I would say that, in the bomb, I lost a lot. I still have a lot. And in some ways, I'm a better human being because of the journey that I've traveled. And I would say that's what God has helped me to do through the prayers and love of people. And that's in a way what led me to set up the Institute, because my pain was acknowledged, but for many, their pain has not been. And I'd like to meet the person who sent me that bomb. And Clement, I'd like to say thank you to that person. Say, look, what you did was evil, was an evil act, but because of what you've done, I've been able, with God's help, to set up a worldwide organization and to help create space to heal others. So good was able to come out of evil. Then I would say to the person who sent the bomb, what about you? Tell me about your life.
Speaking of the Institute, you place a strong emphasis on storytelling and being heard. And I mean, with what you've explained, I suppose it makes sense why it's such a powerful starting point for healing, especially for such a deeply divided society. For someone who has never experienced this process, what actually happens in a healing of memories workshop, and how impactful has it been, and why do you think it is so impactful, the way you go about it?
No, thank you. We set up a methodology where we have our Healing of Memories workshop. We have, say, 20, 25 people at a time. They come together for 2.5 days. They stay together. On the first night, we create the ground rules, and a key ground rule is confidentiality, and that helps people to feel safe. We then begin to have a kind of emotional trigger to begin to touch the wounds of the past. The whole of and then we give people some questions for reflection. How has the past of the nation affected you? What has been the most painful thing that happened in your life? What did I do? What was done to me? What did I fail to do? Then on the second day, we give people paper and we invite them to draw their life story with crayons. And then in groups of 6 or 7, through the whole of the second day, people tell each other their stories. So it's not so much a discussion groups, but talking and listening, and particularly to deal with the emotions. How did you feel when that happened? And then on the end of the second night, we have a party. People just chill out, have fun together. They've shared a lot, and they're ready to celebrate. On the third day, we give people clay, and we say, please create a peace symbol, a symbol of the world that you would like to be part of, that you would like to be part of creating. And then we create, and we have a ceremony. Now, if it was a group of Christians, you would say, this is a very Christian process. If it was a group of Muslims, Buddhists, Jews together, so it's an interfaith process. We work in prisons, we don't assume any faith, but we create a ceremony to celebrate the journey away from victimhood. We promise people one step on the journey to healing. But if people are telling a story for the first time, it can be the point where people begin to take back agency, begin to leave victimhood behind, where people have an aha moment. I'm full of hatred, I'm bitterness, but it's destroying me. And so then people begin to say, but I need to let go of it for my own sake, in order that I may be free.
Yes.
I wonder, Clement, if I could just for a moment talk about how people could support the work of the Institute.
Yes, please.
Would that be okay?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, we are actually, and I'm sure, Clement, you're going to come. We're having a fundraising dinner on the 14th of May at the Royal Johannesburg Country Club. It's going to be an art auction. And we're having Cardinal Brislin will be speaking. There's a great artist called Great Joy in Louisville who's donated a painting that we're going to auction. If people go to Quicket, they can buy a ticket, 1,835. For corporates, they could buy a table for 15,000. But also they can check our website to learn more. It also has our offices in Gauteng and KZN and Cape Town. We go healing-memories.org. healing-memories.org. And people can then find out about the work of the Institute, how they can inquire about workshops that they could attend, but how they could support us. But we hope very much, because obviously without support, we can't proceed.
We can't do this kind of work, So go to healing-memories.org. Go to Quicket if you are able to just make a donation or just purchase a ticket and support
14th of May.
Yeah,
and I
14th
hope,
of
Clement, you're going to be at my table.
I'm gonna try my best to be there. Father Michael Lapsley, I do think that you guys are doing such an incredible work, and we speak a lot
Clement,
about.
Just to say, it's a privilege to speak to you today on the anniversary of my bombing.
Yes,
that's
indeed.
You were not to know, but this is a very special day in my calendar. 36 years of on borrowed time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a question here. For someone who's listening to our conversation and says, "Well, I'm tired of being forced to have the guilt as a white South African because I wasn't there during apartheid. It wasn't even me that decided to support that system. Yes, my great parents may have been there or supported the system, but I've got nothing to do with it. So, what do I need to do? Do I need to heal? Do I need to carry the guilt? What do you say to also a black South African who says, well, I was born after the 2000s. I wasn't even there in the immediate transition to democracy. So there's no healing that's necessary here. What's your advice to them?
Well, going back to the second question first, Clement, you said that you were born after apartheid, but you still had scars. So recognizing those scars. I think there's, as a young white student in South Africa, we had unhealthy guilt. And that was that we drank bad red wine and all we got was babalas. And some of us said, no, we need to join the struggle for freedom. So there's healthy and unhealthy guilt. I think we can say, look, it was my parents and my grandparents, my great-grandparents, but also to recognize as a white person, I benefited from it. So it's not about beating myself up with guilt, but saying, but I can be part of a different kind of society. And that's, for me, a healthy response to guilt. To say, yes, I want to build a more equal South Africa. I want to recognize that, yes, I did benefit from racism, but I can be part of creating something different, black and white together, where we can be truly South African.
Yeah. And for people who still feel stuck in that anger, that pain, that resentment, what do you think is the first step towards healing for them?
The first step is to admit that one does have those feelings, to acknowledge them, but then to find a safe space. And it may be a healing of memories workshop, which people can come to and speak to and begin to let out and let go. One of the things that happens at the workshop I didn't mention is that we write on a piece of paper what I want to leave behind, and then we put it in a fire as a symbolic way of letting go. But otherwise, it's about finding a trustworthy friend, someone who will not preach at us, who will not judge us, who will listen to us. Because the more we can speak it out, we can begin step by step to let it go. But it's often a journey of many, many steps. And for some people, it will be a question of asking God to help them to be able to forgive. For some people, forgiveness isn't the issue. For some, it is. Forgiveness not for the sake of the other person, but for my own sake, in order that I may be free.
Yeah. Father Michael Lapsley, founder and president of the Institute for Healing Memories, thank you so much for joining us for such an important conversation. Let me wrap up with these two messages that came on the WhatsApp line. Celeste says, Clement, I'm afraid to say that apartheid was an inhumane system which will take decades to work through. Some people think that it's time to move on. Well, the damage is deep. If one thinks about the Second World War, the Holocaust, and how we will never forget it, how on earth can people be expected to get over what happened during apartheid? As privileged people, we should have guilt and shame about a horrific system. Many of us were too scared to stand up to the government of the time, but that too takes working through. And then the last one says, Clement, I could not agree more about the dark side of religion, the toxicity of a nationality or group of people claiming they are God's chosen people and therefore have the right at any cost to preserve this. This was definitely a part of some Afrikaner communities, and we see its horrendous nature in what Israel is doing to the Palestinians today. May the day arrive where we all live as humans. That's a message there from Fiti on the WhatsApp line. It's 3 minutes before 11.
Weekend Breakfast with Googs Mshungu.
702 Weekend Breakfast is about switching gears after what's usually a very busy week. We keep you informed, we keep you on trend, what's happening, what's new, what's delicious, what's fascinating, and keep you company as you rest at the end of the week. What I love most about the 702 family and 702 land is we're this interesting motley crew of people, this diverse group of people from all over the country, all over the world, and we all come together and it makes for this interesting, fascinating family. And I don't think you can find a more diverse, interested, a more engaged listenership than people who are part of the 702 family and 702 land. And so they listen to us to be their guide to the weekend because they trust Weekend Breakfast.
702 Weekend Breakfast with Googs Mshungu from 6 to 10 a.m.
702 family, we value what you think and we want to hear it face to face. On Thursday, the 30th of April, we're opening our studio doors to 702 listeners who'd like to share their thoughts on the nation. Your feedback, your ideas, it all matters to us. Everyone who joins us will get a full studio tour. So come see where the magic happens. If you'd like to join us, send an email to contact@702.co.za.
The world is moving fast. Consumer mindsets and preferences are changing in real time. AI is creating new rules and timelines are shorter than ever. At Plus 94 Research, we help leaders reduce uncertainty. We deliver authentic, real-time data grounded in proven methodologies and powered by relevant, cutting-edge technology. So when decisions can't wait, you move forward with clarity, confidence, and impact. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision-making.
Bar Black Sheep. Have you any wool? Yes, sir. More than 3 bags full. We think beyond today, tomorrow, more. Look up, look far ahead. We may choose to leave the herd. There's greener grass where fewer care to tread. Bar Black Sheep. Proof of what we do. Better for clients for over 20 years. Courage, we hold the course for you. Bar Black Sheep. If you want more wool, it takes black sheep thinking. Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP.
The Audi Open House sales event is now on and you're invited. Come test drive a wide range of Audi models and stand a chance to win an exclusive Audi Formula One experience. Plus, enjoy limited time offers across the Audi range. The Audi Open House sales event is now on at Audi dealerships nationwide until 30 April. Book your test drive at audi.co.za. Terms and conditions apply.
The Discam Foundation isn't just a name attached to good intentions. It's a team of real people focused on tackling real challenges in South Africa every single day. This Thursday, on the afternoon drive with John Pellman, we'll hear directly from the team behind the work to find out what drives them, what they are seeing on the ground, and why their mission matters now more than ever. Remember, every swipe of your Discam Better Rewards card makes it possible for the Discam Foundation to reach and serve communities across the country. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts on 702.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Metro Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and the City Manager Kagiso Lerutla have been granted 30,000 Rand bail each. They appeared in the Boksburg Magistrates Court this morning on charges of fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice. They are accused of hatching a plan in 2019 in which Mkhwanazi's driver Thabang Sotetsi allegedly impersonated Lerutla in court after being paid 400,000 Rand, which was shared between Sotetsi and Mkhwanazi. Magistrate Emmanuel Mahampa says the state's argument that the accused will interfere with investigations and witnesses cannot be based on isolation.
The issues in these applications were narrow, limited only to the likelihood of the applicants interfering with witnesses and investigation. These have been sufficiently dealt with in paragraph 24 to 36 above. Having said that, it is my view that the applicants have discharged the onus on the balance of probabilities and that the interest of justice permitted their release on bail.
Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana is this week expected to announce whether the temporary fuel levy cut will be extended. Pressure is mounting on the minister to keep the relief in place as motorists continue to feel the impact of sharply rising fuel prices. Last month, government reduced the general fuel levy by 3 Rand a litre to cushion consumers against soaring global oil prices driven by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. While fuel prices still increased, the intervention helped limit the size of hikes compared to earlier projections. Nkosikola Malingamnisi reports.
While the temporary reprieve was wildly welcomed, it came at a cost, stripping an estimated 6 billion Rand from state revenue. Government says it is exploring every option to soften the knock-on effects on consumers and key sectors of the economy. However, it acknowledges that its ability to sustain relief is limited, warning that prolonged support could place severe strain on the tax system. Officials say they are closely monitoring rising tensions in the Middle East and the impact on global oil markets, which could drive further fuel price increases locally. New fuel prices for May are expected to be announced before next Wednesday, with the current relief measures set to expire on the 5th of May. There is cautious optimism from industry players and economists that government may extend the relief for at least another month. Kosi khona malingamnisi Eyewitness News.
Alleged underworld gang boss Nafiz Modak is expected to bring a new witness today at the Western Cape High Court in an attempt to prove his innocence. Modak claims he was framed by police and his underworld rivals for the 122 charges he faces. In the last 2 weeks, Modak's lawyer called 3 witnesses to corroborate his client's allegations, but evidence brought by the Western Cape, for the witnesses, failed to convince presiding Judge Robert Henney, who ruled most of it as inadmissible. State Prosecutor Greg Volmerant says Modak's evidence so far has been irrelevant.
With respect to the case for accused number 1, the record are really burdened with what I can only refer to as irrelevance. We don't want to go down that road anymore.
And British energy giant BP has reported a sharp increase in profits in the first quarter as crude oil prices soared amid the Middle East war. Oil prices have risen since the start of the U.S.-Iran conflicts on February 28, often swinging violently in response to the war's ever-changing headlines. BP's profit after tax jumped to $3.8 billion for the January to March period from $687 million in the same period a year earlier. The company says the revenue reflects exceptional oil trading contributions. Gold is trading at $4,673.74 an ounce. The rand is at 16.54 to the dollar, 22.39 to the pound, 19.38 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $109.45 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N12 West. This is between Snake Road and Atlas Road. That's due to an accident there. Please be on the lookout while traveling on the N17 East. We've got another accident scene near Heidelberg Road. Delays from Osborne Road.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Metro Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and the city's manager Kagiso Lerutla have been granted 30,000 rand bail each.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Six minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome. This is the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. At 11:30 on our health and wellness feature, we will be discussing how to, in fact, at 11:30, we're going to be discussing how to create healthy sleeping habits for children. So if you've got a child that really struggles with sleep, you haven't really mastered how to get them into a regular habit that's going to see them really sleep, which will work for you because you're going to be able to sleep yourself. You may want to listen at 11:30. We've got someone who's going to give us some tips on that on our health and wellness feature. But right now we start with our World of Work feature.
702.
World of Work.
And today we're discussing how to deal with unhealthy dynamics in the workplace, and obviously that begins with identifying what's healthy and what's not healthy in the workplace. But healthy workplace dynamics are sometimes ignored in companies' quests for profit and productivity, but they're not only integral to the success of the company, but these kind of dynamics can have a deep, lasting effect on workers' well-being and career trajectory. I mean, each person's vision of an ideal work environment obviously is going to be different, but in general, a psychologically healthy workplace is one in which co-workers are respectful of each other's personalities, of each other's ideas and working style, and also work is sort of like allocated fairly, and there's a trust that exists between co-workers, particularly between higher and lower earning employees. So I would like to know what kind of unhealthy dynamics you're dealing with in your workplace, because there's a variety of that. And of course, as I said, it's so subjective. So you tell me what's unhealthy about your workplace and how have you navigated that? Have you raised it? Have you decided just to go to work and don't bother concentrating on that because it drains your energy? How are you navigating the unhealthy environment in your workplace? You can give us a call on 011-883-0702 to share your thoughts with us, or share your experiences on the WhatsApp line on 072-702-1702. Ashwin Raja is a human performance strategist and organizational performance consultant joining us in studio to guide us through this conversation. Ashwin, thank you for making time for us. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement. Thank you for having me in the studio with you.
So we for us to even have a conversation about how to deal with unhealthy dynamics in the workplace, we have to define what's unhealthy in the workplace. But I suppose that's also too broad of a question because it's so subjective. But in general, what would you say makes an environment unhealthy?
So let's look at how workplaces are structured, right? People work in teams. People come together to work with other people to deliver on strategy and vision of an organization. And to do that, people are coming from different backgrounds, different work backgrounds, different home backgrounds, different work experiences, different cultures. So to expect everyone to come together in a corporate or a business and work effectively, we underestimate the complexity of that to start with. So there is naturally going to be a level of dysfunction in the workplace unless you intentionally work towards building that. Now, I think the biggest element that you mentioned already is trust. How do you build trust amongst people in the workplace? Because without trust, people don't engage. And if you don't feel safe to engage and share what your thoughts are, what you disagree with, even a way forward in your team, how do you want this team to perform better? You may have views, but your views are not heard, or they're not respected, or they're shut down. Right? So communication becomes the second layer. Right? When communication is allowed to flow freely in an organization, that builds healthy engagement. Right? But building block for that is trust. So those are the top two elements in an organization, I think, that leads to a more healthy environment where business can thrive and people can thrive.
Yes. So you spoke about the complexity in the workplace where people of different personalities, different backgrounds are all merging in this environment. Of course, there's going to be some dynamics there. So how does then a company deal with that? How can it anticipate? Is it a matter of ensuring company culture is affirmed and that's how you deal with it? Or are there other ways companies can anticipate the dynamics and sort of start dealing with it as people join the organization?
So I think if you start with expecting there to be a level of dysfunction, and there's always a level of dysfunction, the starting point before even you get to cultures is I would start with trust. How do you get people to trust each other? And trust is about talking openly about things. Now, trust means different things to different people, right? So I need to rely on people to deliver certain things. And if someone lets me down, my perception of them changes. So building trust becomes complex within a team or business environment when you work with people regularly. And it depends on, is there a relationship between us? Do we have a connection? And it takes a while to build a connection for someone to trust them. It's not natural that we share everything about ourselves with everyone immediately. So, but that relational element, the connection, the human connection, is fundamental. Being competent in what you do, being a person that you can rely on, those are things that allow people to trust you. Right? So that's the first. How do I build trust in the relation? Secondly is, how do I give trust? Right? So don't judge people when they do things that you don't expect. Try and understand from their perspective. Right? So you've got to give trust and do things that allow people to trust you. It works both ways.
Yeah. So for someone who says, well, I feel unappreciated by my superiors, my managers in my workplace, can something like that create tension and change the dynamics of the workplace?
Yes, 100%. I think when you're having these feelings, when you're having these emotional situations where you're feeling negative about something, for example, I'm feeling undervalued, underappreciated, have the conversation, right? So be very clear on what it is that you think you can add, where you can add value and how they can use you more effectively. And then go and have a constructive conversation with your line manager. And the important part of these conversations is they shouldn't be emotionally charged. They should not be reactive, and it should not be emotional. It's a constructive conversation where you're owning your point of view, right? You're not blaming someone else in that conversation, saying, you're not using me, saying, I think I can contribute this A, B, and C, and I think this is the impact it would have.
Yeah.
How could you use that more effectively? Right? Simple conversations where you're owning what you're sharing. You're not blaming someone else and making it their problem.
Yeah. You're reflecting also within. Okay, 011-883-0702. Give us a call. Send us a WhatsApp voice note as well, 072-702-1702. What are the unhealthy dynamics that you're dealing with in your own workplace? And how have you navigated that? Have you elevated issues and escalated them to HR? Did you sit down with your manager? What is unhealthy about where you are currently working now? And how are you dealing with that? Those calls and WhatsApps, please. I'll get to them in a moment. Where do people begin, Ashwin? Like, where do I start? Who do I talk to if I'm realizing that, okay, wait, this environment I'm in this workplace is actually not healthy? Do I speak to HR? Do I bring up my manager? How would you advise listeners who are in this situation?
Yeah. So I think the important part is to define for yourself, when you say it's unhealthy, what about this team is not healthy, right? So firstly, is the team delivering the performance, the results that they're mandated to do? First question. And if they're not, then there's a discussion to be had. Second, is it about accountability in the team? Is it about communication, or is it about trust? And those are the three fundamental building blocks, I think, that affect how teams work. And when you can pinpoint it, then you can have the conversation. Start at the source. If it's a peer in your team where you see the problem, then have the conversation with the individual. But again, not an emotional conversation, constructive dialogue where you're owning your perception, your point of view, and knowing that the way you see a situation is your perception. Right? It may not be reality.
Yeah.
So have the conversation knowing that and owning that. And you can also have that conversation with the line manager. Right? The line manager has a responsibility to make the team work effectively and perform effectively. So doing it without blame, where you're owning your perspective, can add value to people as well. And often people do things in the workplace unaware of the impact on others. It's not a deliberate impact they have on you, but you experience it in this way all the time. Right? So I think always engage. One of the biggest challenges in workplaces is that there's not enough communication. And when that happens, people then fill the story. They go home and you've got this open loop where you think someone's intended something and you don't know. So your mind fills in the gaps and creates a story around it. And that if you haven't got the real facts, that story becomes your reality.
Yeah.
And those are the things. And that also drains you. It becomes emotionally draining, and it burns unnecessary energy. So have the conversations, engage with people. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but it's healthier to deal with it and have healthy conversations.
Yeah. So poor communication then can contribute to misunderstandings then that make the environment
100%
to you as unhealthy. There's someone who's asking, one of our listeners who's asking about like disagreements when there are like sometimes hectic disagreements among team members, and they're asking, is that something you would consider unhealthy? Does that depend on how respectful or disrespectful those team members are in their disagreement?
100%.
Because of course disagreements are healthy, right?
Yes, exactly where I'm going. I think a healthy team should have 20 to 25% of disagreement, but healthy disagreements. And unhealthy disagreements, when it's emotional, it's personalized, and it's reactive. Right? You don't want to do that. But where you're owning your point of view, acknowledging the other person's point of view, challenging it without being disrespectful, owning your point of view. That's the challenge. This is my perception of the situation. This is, I think, would be better. That's healthy conversation. That's healthy conflict. And teams actually don't do that enough, because often when you've got teams of 5 to 10 people, because it's small, there's a collegial relationship. So people feel uncomfortable challenging people. It's almost like we're going to disrupt this environment, and I'm going to look bad if I'm challenging. So we don't do enough of that in business, in the workplace. We need a lot more challenges, but constructive, healthy challenges.
Yeah. I've got some more messages coming through on the WhatsApp line from our listeners. Leah says, Clement, I have a manager who is completely unapproachable. And if I speak to the boss, she's going to treat me much worse, especially since the boss doesn't live in South Africa and she controls the office. So it's about how unapproachable the senior manager is. And this is what this listener considers as unhealthy. Another one says, hi, Clement. I have a boss that is always negative towards what I do. He has sent me messages in the late hours of the night speaking negative about what I do. I have involved HR, however, it has not worked. We don't speak by ourselves. There should be a mediator when we have a meeting. Work is extremely negative and toxic. Work for me is sad, though, due to my family needs. I go daily, so I don't have a choice, but I've tried to speak to him. However, they have not yielded any positive results. So how I work now is that I avoid him. That's a question there from Anonymous in Johannesburg. Is that the best strategy, to just avoid?
No, it is a sad situation, and I've seen it often. When once the relationship is damaged, it's very hard to fix it and repair it. And it sounds like there's history in that relationship. If he's critical of her or him, I think it was a her, then there's history that may need to be resolved, and it may need a third party to resolve it if it's got to that point. But not, you need to think about what you're getting from that work environment. Are you getting the learning and growth you need from it? Why are you staying there? If it's not serving you, because it sounds, that situation, I've known people who, as that person describes it, are clinically unwell. They become mentally, you get depressed, medication to cope with it, because you're spending a significant portion of your time in an unhealthy environment, and it's not good for people's stress levels and mental health. So I would say try and resolve it. Maybe the resolution is not pointing out what the person is doing, but asking questions. Let them, give them a chance to resolve it. Acknowledge with the line manager, our relationship is not working. How can we fix it? And leave it. Just let them try and fix it. Right? Don't try and fix it yourself. So ask a question. Try asking open questions to try and resolve it, and let them see how they respond.
Yeah. Mbali, you are calling us from Eastgate. Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to add my 2 cents that I work in a toxic environment, and the person who makes it toxic is my manager. And and it's in the way she addresses people, or me specifically, I don't think she has emotion regulation, if I can put it like that. And I've raised it with HR, but I feel like it's a character thing, because, like shortly after that, she just went back to being her toxic self, or unprofessional rather. So I don't know, as sad as it sounds, I've just learned how to deal with her, and not take it personally, because she's like this, literally. And there's people who used to work there and are like, oh, no, she is like that. It's not you only. So it's so difficult. And I've raised it with HR, So I think also we need to know that sometimes it's not a fixable thing. Like, it's who a person is,
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
If it's not fixable, then it means then for you, Mbali, in that workplace, it's not going to be a healthy workplace for you.
No, but I don't let her get to me, Sometimes it does happen where I'm like, oh no, what she did is not okay. But I'm just like, what? It's who she is, and unfortunate.
Sure. Yeah, Mbali, I'm sorry to hear that, and all the best. Strength to you. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Ashwin, Mbali's tactic is just avoid them, but learn how to work around them. So at what point as employees do we then accept a situation that may not really work in our favor, just so that we're able to just coexist in the workplace?
I think Mbali, the fact that you're coping with the situation, you're tolerating it, and you've got feedback that this person is similar with other people, and it's not, you're not taking it personally. I think you're dealing with it in a relatively healthy way by not personalizing the feedback you're getting. So the question is, does it impact your performance? Can you still deliver? Because for you to move out of that team to move to another team, you need to still perform. You need to be shown, be visible as someone who's still producing results and doing what you do really well. And if you can still do that, then that's great. I would still suggest to the manager, have another conversation, right? I know it's difficult, but this time talk about how she can get better impact from the team. Acknowledge what she does well, because everyone's doing something well, right? Even in an unhealthy workplace, an unhealthy team, there's going to be 30%, 40% of things that are going well. So start from the positive, acknowledge what she does well, and guide her in terms of what she can do and get better results from the team. So position it as a benefit to her, not a benefit to you. Try and shift it in that direction when she's in the right energy mode. But a lot of it is personality driven, and leaders find that what's worked for them previously, driving results in their way, they do, seems to work for them, but they get to a point where it's going to fail them, and I've seen that often in the workplace.
Another one says, "Hey Clement, staff is quick to criticize. It's tough as management when when commitments are not kept. Gossip, accusations, etc. It's not a one-way situation." Another one says, "Clement, I'm in a situation where I work for a company that doesn't have HR. The owner does everything himself. He employs his friends in high positions, and I'm not getting help from these friends. When I complained to him, he told me to find another job and protect her friends. It's so unhealthy that me and my team end up doing everyone's tasks, and my team is suffering. Anything goes wrong, me and my team are the ones that are getting blamed for it." Sanita, you are in the Johannesburg South. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. No, I was just saying, I just spoke to the lady now, and I explained to her that, there's some people, regardless of where you work, or your workplace can be as much toxic. However, some people are still getting paid 17 rand per hour for a 12-hour shift. And if you look at that 17 rand, I mean, the law requires you to at least pay a minimum of 30 rand 23 cents per hour. So people are basically going home with nothing at the end of the day. You understand? And now, with our country having gone into the cheap labor, companies find it better to employ foreign people, foreign nationals, to pay them 17 rand an hour, which is way below the minimum wage.
So in some cases, then the unhealthy thing that exists in that workplace is that there's just exploitation. You're not being paid, properly for the work, the kind of value that your work has. Ashwin, what is psychological safety, though? How do we define it, and how does the lack of it create these unhealthy workplace dynamics? Because it would also be naive of us to think you're going to find a job in a place where there are no issues, where you don't disagree with people.
Yeah. So psychological safety is really about, am I comfortable sharing my thoughts openly in an environment without judgment and without repercussion, right? So can I be vulnerable in this space without people judging me? Sharing my thoughts, also sharing emotions. You can talk about emotions, but often people, it's not done in the workplace. It's not accepted. So that's the building block of it. It includes trust. Part of trust is you feel safe to talk openly with people. So trust falls underneath psychological safety. I think in a nutshell, I'd leave it at that.
Another one says, "Clement, I'm facing double standards from a co-worker in a team formed for a specific project. There are several times when I raised this issue with the person, she dismissed my concerns, so I gave up and then opted for doing what the other team member does to the team. Then she crushed out, and that was it with the project progress. That's a message there from Anonymous. Another one says, Clement, I have a manager who says she believes in transparency but uses this belief to discuss stuff with other staff, even things that should be private or confidential. I've learned that she simply cannot be trusted, and I'm extremely careful about what I say to her and around her. It makes things extremely difficult because she's a person that should be the first point of call to resolve issues. There's that issue of trust.
Exactly.
That
There
we
we are.
started with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that can really get so
Yeah.
complicated.
And again, a conversation with the line
Yeah.
manager, acknowledging that I've shared this with you, I trusted you, and I've heard it come back to me through other people. You know, let her know that the people she's talking to are not holding, she's trusting people, and they're not holding her trust.
Yeah, all in the name of transparency. Well, Ashwin Raja, thank you so much for joining us for this important conversation. Really appreciate your insights.
Thank you very much, Clement. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, Ashwin Raja is a human performance strategist and organizational performance consultant. That takes us to 11:30, which means Mbali has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Metro Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and the city manager Kagiso Lerotla have been granted 30,000 rand bail each. They appeared in the Boksburg Magistrates Court this morning on charges of fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice. They are accused of hatching a plan in 2019 in which Mkhwanazi's driver allegedly impersonated Lerotla in court after being paid 400,000 rand. The Gauteng Education Department is battling overcrowding in schools as statistics show the number of pupils has doubled in the past 3 decades. In 1995, just more than 1.4 million learners were registered in public schools in the province, with this figure surging to 2.8 million this year. The provincial government has raised concern over the rapid growth, with classes continuing to increase. And the City of Cape Town has allocated 6.8 billion rand to its Safety and Security Department. Mayco member for Safety and Security, JP Smith, says the funds will be used to upgrade a range of security infrastructure, including CCTV cameras as well as fire stations. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, travelling on the M1 North, we've got delays just as you approach the Crown turn-off. There's also queuing traffic reported on the M2 West between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road heading towards Amalgam, while in Devlin, we still have got those roadworks taking place along the Golden Highway towards Union Avenue, causing delays. If you were heading towards Germiston via the R59 North, you expect delays coming out of Nelson Mandela Avenue. There's an accident reported there, so if you are leaving Alberton right now, your best route is the N3 North and then turn off at the Rain Airport interchange. If you are traveling on the N17 East, we've got an accident reported. It's right near Heidelberg Road. It's causing delays coming out of Osborne Road. Please approach with care. More updates at the top of the hour with Khomozo Munyai. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702 Afternoons with Relebohile Mabodja.
702 Afternoons is about all things in life, from music to inspiration. We get an opportunity to explore science, mental health, food. I almost feel like there's nothing we don't do on my show. One of the things I absolutely love about 702 Land and the 702 family is that we are so sharing. We share tears, laughs, smiles. We share in the amazing times and celebrate together as well. We have a range of topics, but when it comes to what we do cover on the show, absolutely everything. My listener is somebody who wants to grow, evolve, develop. They're empathetic, they are loving, they are so special that even when they don't have, they come through and share, and more importantly, they know how to walk the talk.
702 Afternoons with Relebohile Mabodja. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m.
702 family, you know we value what you think, right? And we want to hear it face to face. So listen to this. On Thursday, this coming Thursday, the 30th of April, we're opening our studio doors to 702 listeners who'd like to share their thoughts on the station. Your feedback, your ideas, it all matters to us. So Everyone who joins us is going to get a full studio tour. So please come and see where the magic we do every day happens. And if you'd like to join us, it's very easy. Just send an email to contact@702.co.za. Indicate that you want to come and we'll share details and the times with you. That email address again is contact@702.co.za.
Attention all shoppers.
Our supermarket shelves are full of unhealthy food. It's often hard for me to know which foods are good for my family. The information on packaged food is complicated and hard to understand. I wish we had easy-to-understand warning labels on foods high in salt, sugar, and saturated fat. We have the right to know what's in our food. Support front-of-package warning labels on unhealthy packaged foods. Sign the petition on healer.org. That's HEALA.org.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports. No more disconnected systems. No more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. istratgo.com.
Some moments are personal. Some spaces are professional. All of them deserve care. At Frond and Filigree, we create handcrafted floral experiences for life's meaningful moments and the places where they happen. From birthdays and anniversaries to hotels, offices, and events, our bespoke arrangements are designed with artistry and intention. Because when flowers are done right, they elevate every moment. Visit frondandfiligree.co.za.
Gear up for glorious Grand Slam success with Hollywood Bets. Take your tennis passion to new heights and feel every stroke, rally, and match point as the drama unfolds at the Australian Open, Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and US Open. The biggest stages in tennis have been set as the world's best go head-to-head for ultimate bragging rights. Bet now and make every moment count.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
2026 is going to be a year of firsts when the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon happens for the first time in May.
Love it.
And continues to push to becoming Africa's first major. So, join Cape Town and the rest of the world when we rise again to run for gold and make history.
That's what makes this one so special.
By turning Africa's biggest marathon into Africa's first major. Putting Cape Town on the marathon stage with some of the greatest cities in the world, like London, Paris, Tokyo, Berlin.
It doesn't get better than this.
The Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, 24 May 2026.
Get ready.
The 2026 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, proudly supported by 702. Go to capetownmarathon.com for more.
702.
Health and wellness.
24 minutes before 12 o'clock, this health and wellness feature is brought to you by Cipla. Stay connected with us. Today, we are having a conversation on our health and wellness feature about creating healthy sleep habits for children. How do you do that? Because creating a predictable and nurturing bedtime routine is actually one of the most effective ways that parents can help their children enjoy a healthy sleep. It fosters positive development. It builds deeper family connections. In fact, research shows that consistent bedtime routines not only promotes better sleep in infants, toddlers, and preschoolers, but also supports language development, emotional regulation, and overall well-being. So, do you have children that sort of are struggling with sleep issues? Have you been struggling to find a proper, normal sleep routine for your infants, your toddlers? And how have you seen the impact? Is it the impact on their education? Is it over their attention span? What have you observed as the possible impact of that lack of consistent sleeping routine? I mean, sleep problems in children and teens can be behavioral as well, right? They can be psychological. They could be medical as well. So for many families, sleep problems begin before the child is actually in bed. It's not unusual for children to have nightmare worries or fears that stop them from falling asleep easily, right? So what have been your experiences? And maybe you've got little ones now, or maybe when you had little ones, how did you navigate the issue of a healthy sleep habit for your children? 011-883-0702 is the number to dial. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Dr. Donald Gumede is a general practitioner and the National Healthcare Professionals Association chairperson who's joining us on the line. Dr. Gumede, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Bob Manyathela.
Siabong. Let's start with just explaining the importance of sleep in a child. Why is sleep important for a child's growth and development?
Yes, that's critical. Actually, let's start from the very beginning. So, from birth to around your 3 months, the child has got what we call short-term memories. So even if you are the best parent in the world, you will never be able to train that child to be able to sleep consistently, because the long-term memory to remember the sleep hygiene enforcement, it's not yet there. So then by that time it's try and error, so the child doesn't remember what you did the day before and so forth. So after 3 months, that's when you have the better opportunity to start now reinforcing or making the child learn, or the baby learn, that there are patterns, there are ways of sleeping that I have to remember. And that falls within the ambit of habits, how we form habits. We take around 66 days, which is almost 2 months. So you realize that parents will start enjoying sleep after 5 months of birth because of what I've just said, because the child has now realized and recognized patterns. That mommy puts me to bed for 3 hours at 12 or 8 o'clock and so forth. And that's very critical, because majority of time you'll come and hear parents complain that my child doesn't sleep. And it's still around that 3 months period that I've just explained. And then after 5 months, my child just falls asleep so easily, and I have no issues with that. But that also comes with what you just critically said. You have to enforce the pattern to the child. So parents, we are required to make sure that we create patterns or sleeping patterns which are actually acceptable, and the child can recognize and understand. You see, other people, they use rocking chairs. Others put the babies on their back when they want them to sleep. The child memorizes that and take it as the way to fall asleep. And if you change that pattern, the child won't sleep. Now you put the child on your hands or you do other things. So it's important to make sure that sleeping hygiene for your child is adhered to, and the child can recognize that. Because these are developmental stages. Remember, you mentioned something very critical as well. That this thing that they don't only affect the children when they're young, they affect them even in their teenagehood and also adulthood as well. So if you're not well trained at the formative stage, as we call them, which is between the age of 0 to 8 years old, you have lost the patterns. And it's critical to actually recognize what we are talking about.
Oh, yeah. So that's 0 to, did you say 0 to 8 months or to 8
0
years?
0 to 8 years.
Oh,
8
0
years.
to 8
Yeah, we'll
years.
come back to that one, yes. Yeah, the formula that I'm going to give, yes. Yeah.
Okay, I see. But what are some of the common reasons, though, that children, struggle to fall asleep at night? Are there other reasons, or could it just be that they're still learning that pattern?
Yeah, so other than the 3 months that we spoke about, right? So the other causative cause for children not to sleep are medical, okay? And they're also one behavioral, like we just described. And I'm going to add other examples to it. So medically, you might find that your child has got asthma. They can't sleep because you see at night it gets worse, or they've got allergies or other allergies, like your eczema, they scratch themselves a lot. And other one, you find that they're on other medications, which actually they treat behavioral patterns like your ADHDs. So you find that the child has got ADHD and then it's on other medication, which side effects causes them not to sleep as well. So that's medical side of it. Then the other non-medical side of it, I'll say something which actually is a common norm, which we actually believe that is true. So we have got this sugar rush mentality. I call it sugar high octane syndrome. So we believe that if we give children sugar, they don't sleep. In truth, there's no study in the world that has proven that.
Really?
What has been proven, yes. That's why I said
the way we
we're
use
gonna
it so
demystify the
much,
myth.
you would swear
Yes.
that there's literally some studies that back it up.
Exactly. So what is there is that additives in certain foods and food dyes are the ones which actually cause hyper sensitivity to these children who start behaving very hyperactive and all that. So if your child is sensitive to certain additives or food dyes, they're gonna be indeed very active and be disruptive in the environment. But the other thing which is very important is what I call electronic stimulation. As you ask, what are the things which causes the children not to sleep? We have actually flooded our children with electronics, your TVs, your console, your gaming consoles, your cell phones, laptops. Children as far as 4 years, they know how to operate cell phones, really. I mean, they're still in their formative stage. They should not be having cell phones. They're not working. They're not in cooperation. Why are we giving them all this? But it's convenient for parents because they give them those things for the parents to do whatever they want to do to distract them. But they're actually robbing the children of early development or proper sleeping hygiene training, because that's the important phase. You need to form proper sleeping hygiene programs, which I'm going to run through quickly. So the child must have a curfew. You know, the child must know that 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock is my time for bed. It's my bedtime, and then the child must know that okay, when I get to my bedroom, I must switch off the lights so that I can fall asleep. And the child must know that bed is for sleeping, not for playing. And the child must know as well that okay, I must have maybe whether it's soft, soothing music or no music at all for me to fall asleep. I must not be taking caffeine or coffees 30 minutes before my bedtime. And it's an intention for me to go to bed. It's not an accident. And that child must actually enjoy 7 to 9 hours of sleep so that their brain function may grow properly, and also they are able to harness full concentration when they're at school and when they're participating with their peers. Because if you rob them that, then you're creating a very unstable child who starts being hyperactive and being disruptive.
Okay, that's so valuable. Let me give an opportunity to some of our listeners who may have some questions, who may want to share their experiences as well. I'm asking you if, as a parent, if you've got sleep routines that you have come up with, that you've established to ensure good sleep for your children. Like, what are those? Dr. Kumete has just argued now that you must ensure that your child knows that there is a curfew. Make sure that the child knows that the bed is for sleeping, it's not for playing. Maybe when they are in the bedroom, they're ready to sleep, they want soothing music, or maybe they just want silence. What are the foods, the things to stay away from before bedtime? Are these the things that you have instituted in your household? 011-883-0702. Or maybe you're dealing with a child that really struggles with sleep. As you heard, I mean, the reasons could be medical, it could be psychological, it could be behavioral. Like sleep problems in children and teens can manifest themselves in various ways. So you can contact us on the line or send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702.
702.
Health and wellness.
Someone wants to know here, Dr. Kumete, about a child's brain and particularly the issue of concentration. How does good sleep help a child with concentration?
Yes, correct. Yeah, so that's very important, that question. It's actually what we touched a little bit. So they must understand that when your child is not concentrating in class, they might be having what we call ADHD or autism. So most of the time, the teachers in this area, they are trained to recognize or see patterns, you see. So if you have a child, ADHD stands for attention deficit or hyperactive disorder, which is characterized by inattention, meaning the child cannot focus or pay attention or concentrate on anything or focus on anything, you see. And also the second one is hyperactivity. So they are very hyperactive. The child gets into a room, would have touched almost 60 to 80% of what is in the room without sitting down. You said sit down, they sit down for 1 second, they stand up and go. Then impulsiveness. They act out of impulsiveness. So parents, like the one who just asked, may not realize that maybe the child has got a bit of ADHD or autism or other neurodevelopmental problems. So it's very critical and very important that you take the child for assessment to the healthcare professional, because on your own you won't be able to diagnose that, because as parents we always don't want to accept that our children are sick. We want to say no. They say my child is sick, even when I've realized that especially if you diagnose the child with those conditions that I've told you, the parents will always be in denial first before they actually accept. But it's understandable. Nobody wants to believe that that child has got any problems of some sort. But coming back to the sleeping habits, it's very important for your brain, including you as an adult. The brain repairs itself when you are sleeping. So if you have sleep deprivation, also you as an adult, you tend to make more mistakes and your focus is also poor. So it's very important that you get a full or good sleep as a person or as an individual. It's not only for children. Yes.
Yes. All right, let's go to some calls now. Maria, you are calling us from Senton. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning. Sorry, I would like to ask the doctor, because my son has a narcolepsy. He was diagnosed with a narcolepsy where he can be eating, he'll fall asleep.
Correct.
If he's active, he's constantly active. He can do sports, he can read, he can do. But if he's eating, he can fall asleep. We can be watching a movie, he'll fall asleep. He can be talking with the person, having a conversation, and he'll fall asleep. And we have gone to the doctors. We're doing a treatment where he's taking a tablet once a day to keep him awake. But it's not helping much. I would like an assistance. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for that question, Maria. Yeah, Dr. Kumeda?
Yes, and that's a very good question as well, because also amongst the causes of lack of sleep, it's apnea, sleep apnea, where the the oxygen levels go down. It's more or less the same thing for the child. So you find that the patient and the doctor and the patient have not reached an optimum dosage for the medication, and also because it involves lots of intervention. So she must not give up. If ever maybe she's not happy with the current practitioner, she can look for a second opinion. But what is critical is she should not stop the treatment, because sometimes, like I've just said, you find that parents, they said, no, my child is cured of narcolepsy. But no, it's not. It's not cured. You continue with the treatment until the doctor says so. Don't make that judgment, that medical judgment. Yes, so please let her go back to the practitioner. If she's not happy, let her look for a second opinion, to maximize the treatment. Yeah.
Perfect. Bongeni, you are in Johannesburg. Hi.
Hi, gentlemen. How are you?
Sharp, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a young parent, right? My daughter is turning 3 in the next month, but she stays with my parents because me and my father are on the work. So I've noticed that whenever she visits us, right, she has a very bad sleeping pattern, which is going back to what you guys talked them being exposed to devices, tablets, or anything to keep them stimulated. But I think that has played a major role in affecting the sleep patterns and the behavior as well. So I just want to find out, if that's the case, how do you manage to bring them back to track? Because she hardly sleeps. She can be up the whole night, maybe till 2, you try to get her to sleep. She doesn't sleep. And then during the day, she might just sleep. But I feel like she doesn't have a complete 8 hours sleep. She might be up. She might sleep for 2 hours and then wake up, sleep again maybe an hour. But nighttime is where the headache is. At night she may sleep. So I want to find out if there is a certain way to go back. Do you just take the devices away, or what exactly? How can you enforce back the pattern?
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Mbongeni. Yeah, Dr. Gumede?
Yeah, I like what Mbongeni said. He actually asked a question and answered.
Yes, I heard that.
Because actually, I think maybe we did a very good presentation, you and me.
No, you did, Dr. Gumede.
You see, because it's exactly what we just said. But then the other critical thing to remind him is the 3-6 rule that I was just going to introduce quickly, to say that in 3 months, yes, you see, you can give them a leeway because they've not formulated, they don't have the long-term memories. But after 3 months, they can still reinforce and create the patterns. It's not too late. So like he's saying, he must just make sure that he now creates healthy ways of putting the child to sleep. You know, it's very important. And repeatedly, habits are not formed by one time short thing. It's a continuous reinforcement. So they still have a long way. But also let them take away all those gadgets that they put in front of the child to think that the child is going to sleep. No, it's not a good thing for them to do, because they are not advantaging the child, they're disadvantaging the child in a bad way, because that child will grow up be an insomniac in the future or later stage, and it's all because of them who actually didn't put a good foundation for the child. And the critical thing that the child is not staying with them, and it's always important to actually have proper caregivers that you can give clear instruction on how you want your child to be raised if you're not there. But we recommend that you be there as a parent, especially in this formative stage, because you don't want to blame other people for the misbehavior of your child later on, to say, I wasn't there or it's not me.
Absolutely. Dr. Donald Gumede, General Practitioner, National Healthcare Professionals Association Chairperson, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so insightful, I'm sure, to a lot of parents out there. It's one of those issues sometimes we don't take for granted, but if you get the system right, if you know that there is a habit, a routine you can create, that may be an answer really to the challenges you've had around the inconsistencies with sleep when it comes to your little ones. Now, looking after your gut doesn't have to mean complicated diets or hours in the kitchen. That's what Entero Probiotic Supplement has teamed up with celebrity chef Zola Nene and dietitian Abigail De Cruz through their Feed the Good campaign to create easy, gut-friendly recipes anyone can make at home. With simple ingredients and the right digestive support like Entero, your gut can stay balanced, nourished, and ready to help you feel your best every day. Visit www.entero.co.za to download the recipes. References available on request.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
My show is about your money, and it's about how people have made their money. But it's also about what happened to your money today, what happened on the JSE, what's happening overseas. All of these things, all about the way in which people make their money, spend their money, use their money, and in so many ways, use their money to make more money for them. What I absolutely love about the 702 family and 702 land is the huge warmth of people, the generosity that they show. But I also absolutely love the hustle. Anyone in business is actually trying to improve the economy. They're trying to have an impact on all of us. And there's a go-getting attitude to 702 land that you don't see in so many other places. That's what I really love about 702 land. That getting together and doing something new, and in the process, making making money.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an unmistakable rhythm that brings us all together. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Josie My Josie to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk Babiza Bonke. On Sunday, the 26th of July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be part of something special. Entries will be opening soon, so stay tuned to 702 and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the city of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, and for our Josie. Babiza Bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
Do you ever call you like to sell? But don't trust your uncle or your pal. Then we buy cars, it's just for you. Buying cars is what we do. We offer service with a smile. We always go the extra mile. Use a place that you trust and sell your car to us.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a guaranteed premium for 12 months even if you claim? For electrical, tradesman services, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Coming up
On the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Good morning, Mandy.
Good morning,
What's
Clement.
popping?
So, a scandal for Education Minister Siviwe Gwagube around the textbooks being broken by News 24 today. Siviwe Gwagube has agreed to speak to us today, so we'll be getting a response from her. She's asked the Finance Minister to investigate these claims of impropriety, so we'll follow up with that. March on March is marching at the Union buildings against foreigners. Interesting in light of the President's comments against xenophobia yesterday. Julius Mkhwanazi has been granted bail in court, so we'll pick up on that story. And then we are going to also have a look at this sub 2-hour marathon and the
So
science
incredible.
behind it.
Oh.
Do you think it's the shoes or do you think it's the...
Well, I do think it is the shoes. I actually just watched a video before I went on air talking about how Nike tried it before.
With the Eliud Kipchoge.
Yes. For the first time, though, but I've got a lot of my friends, actually, I was just counting, there's 4 of my friends who run with that shoe now, and they've been so happy. I'm actually considering going to the shops now to get that shoe for my next marathon.
It's the best marketing strategy
It
in
is.
the world.
Perfect.
When you have the 2 men breaking 2 hours, and they're both wearing the same shoe, and the woman was that one was wearing the same shoe.
I think I'm going to get myself a pair of that. Looks like it's a shoe to run in. That's Mandy Wiener coming up on the Midday Report after the news. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday edition of the show. We'll chat with you again tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon. I'm Bali Dlamini. Suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Metro Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and the city manager Kagiso Lerotla have been granted 30,000 rand bail each. They appeared in the Boksburg Magistrates Court today on charges of fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice. They are accused